cut this wire and you peeled back the rubber, the piece of copper wire that's in them about the thickness of a hair.
I've been
That-
seeing
that
that
big.
in jump cables as well. If you open up a jumper cable, it's the thinnest piece of wire you've ever seen, and they insulate it to be thick.
You're right.
But no, you cut it open, it's maybe an eighth of an inch.
Unbelievable. And anyway, yeah, it's going to be close to the record high today. And because of that, I hadn't heard this before, but just talking to Austin, and Duck was verifying it through where Duck's garage is. And they've been fixing the air conditioners on cars since late February.
Yep. About the second, third week of February, I had my first 2 AC complaints.
Yeah, because we had that snow and stuff, and then it got warm.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm still fixing snow repairs too.
Are you really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot warmer than what it really should be right now. So just know that you're going to go into summer early this year. That's what it tells me. And it's going to be a very unrelenting summer, I think. It's going to
More
be
than likely.
hot, and even hotter.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be. But I'm not going to complain. I refuse to complain. I grew up in cold weather. So, I'm, as I try to tell everybody, I'm still trying to thaw out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up outside of Chicago. It was cold there sometimes of the year. During the summertime, we get up into the 90s at sometimes, but basically, high 80s, low 90s. And then at night, it would cool off nicely because you typically would get the breeze off the lake, and it would bring in cooler temperatures rolling across that water. So that was good. I didn't have central air until I got into 7th grade.
Yep. I experienced some of that. I lived for a few years in Denver, and we all had swamp coolers in the places I was staying in, and it would get out to 90 to 91 degrees out there during the peak summer. You'd think people were melting out there.
Well, when it gets hot here, I mean, air conditioning saved the South. I'm going to tell you right now, it saved the South. If we didn't have central air right now, a lot of the people that live down here, a lot of the businesses that relocated down in the South would not be here right now. They relocated because of air conditioning. If you could go through a whole year and not see a really freezing day during that time, just what you would do.
There's no way I could have been like, oh, I declare it's so hot with my fan and my sweet tea. There's no way I would have made it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I made it. Look, I grew up north, but it would get hot. I remember, I think I mentioned this yesterday. I would lie on the linoleum floor because we didn't have wall-to-wall carpet. We were on the wrong side of the tracks for that. I laid on the linoleum in front of the screen door. All houses had screen doors on them, front and back. So
wooden screen doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could open up, the door and let the air flow through. And then you put a box fan in front of that, and then if you're a kid, you lay down in front of it.
Shoot, I got one better. When I lived in St. Louis, my stepdad was a jerk, and he wouldn't turn the air on until he got home. And that was like a 10 o'clock. He worked at Hussman, and he would get home, and he would turn the air on at night, and I would be so hot already because my room was up in the attic. I felt like flowers in the attic, but no, I'm kidding. But I would put a sheet over the air conditioner vent and sleep like that with the air conditioned tent. And then when it'd go off or kick off, it'd go down on top of me. Anyway, but down here, we'd have the windows open and I'd hear the crickets and it'd be so hot. And I'd go like in the living room because we had one air conditioner, a window air in the living room. So
that's why we started with window air.
Yeah, my grandpa, he was
central.
Cheap.
Yeah, we started with a attic fan.
That is what I grew up with.
That's all we ever had.
My dad put an attic fan. I swear, the size of the blade on that looked like a C-130.
You know, I have one in my shop that was from the original shop owner. It was his grandmother's. It is
Wow.
about 100 years old.
It still works.
It still runs. If
Yeah.
you we don't run it, but it's just up there. And he came by one day. He's getting up there in age, but he said, please don't ever do anything with that. I said, I wouldn't know how to get that thing down from the top shelf if I tried. It's massive.
Well, my dad put one up in our attic at the end of the house. You remember the old ranch style homes? You had louvers in the side of the house that they didn't have the turbines on your house. They had these louvers that would let the air flow from one end of the house and go out the other end of the house. And he cut those louvers out and put a big old attic fan in. And at night, he turned that sucker on. You were in bed and I'll say,
You learn maybe that's how we learn to sleep through anything.
I do sleep through anything. It's crazy as far as that. Okay, so Duck is here, and so is Austin. That's that. It's the guy that's right there in the front of your video that looks like King Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
He's got it, Dave. Got it down pat.
Yeah, now they got you looking at me, but the guests looking at you. So like
Yeah.
I see their heads.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
get this configured right.
they're
on
going
here.
to change,
One of these
they're going to
days.
change the cameras.
Yeah, they're gonna move them.
Yeah, they already got one moved that you just
But it
can't
ain't-
use it yet
it-
because
it
the big
isn't plugged
TV
in.
is in front of it.
Yep.
So they got one. They got two at the other end from me, and then they got one on the wall over there. You can where I'm
You can
pointing
see the
at.
cord, yeah.
Yeah. So when those all go on, it's going to be much better in here to watch the show and be able to see everybody. But right now, they're just pulling back and getting everybody in a 3-shot right now. Yeah. So we're all here.
I may not want my picture to it. I may break the camera, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
We haven't had anybody yet come on and say, I'd rather you didn't put up the stream.
Yeah, that's
They
fine.
want the stream. They like having the stream.
I don't have to.
And
have
we've
it.
got a lot of people watching the stream. just
My
to be
camera's
honest.
broken, so I'm like, ha ha.
Yeah, they're going to fix that too.
I
So-
broke it, so I
so
guess
you
I
gotta
broke
be
it,
it.
Doug.
Okay, so bottom line, let's talk about, we'll get into cars, all right, in just a second. But Saturday, May the 2nd, is the car and truck show.
Yes.
And
at
I
Conway.
want to say car and pickup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big that you understand it, because this year there's going to be a winner in the car part and there's going to be a winner in the pickup part.
Yeah, the best of show of cars is going to get $1,000 and a trophy, and the best of show of pickups is going to get $1,000 and a trophy.
And the 2025 winner was a 1967 Chevy pickup truck.
Yes, he was the winner, and we decided to add the best of, do a pickup and a car. I had a few people argue with, griped about it last. Not really griped about it. They just, had some concerns that a pickup had won it for 2 years in a row, and and there's some $100,000, $200,000, antique cars there, and I made the suggestion, hey, let's do a car and a truck.
Yeah.
And
Makes
that way
sense.
we're covering both sets. We're covering the cars and the pickups. So, and I think it'll work out a whole lot better too, Dave.
Well, and you got to think about, I think most guys around here, in our territory, they grew up with the pickup trucks a little more,
Exactly.
likely they've got nostalgia in the old trucks, that they had learned to drive in rather than a,
In a
sweet
car.
road runner that can do, 100 miles an hour pretty quick.
That'd be the girls.
I learned how to drive with 3-speed on the column.
Yep.
I saw. I'm curious about this. How many cars nowadays do you guys get in that are manual transmission? Because
You're seeing more and more here lately.
I saw a graphic the other day, and somebody was asking, "Could you get in this and drive it?" And I was like, "Heck yes, I could." That's what I learned on.
Most people can't.
I know.
If you're
but that's what I
younger
learned
than
on.
35, I bet you can't.
But I think kids should have them because they wouldn't be texting. Although I could put mascara on and still downshift with my clutch, but still, that took me a long time to figure out. But these kids might not be texting if they had to always be downshifted.
I learned my first car was a 5-speed.
Yeah.
I learned pretty
I
quickly.
had a
That's
Rabbit,
when
Volkswagen Rabbit.
texting really came out. So I learned how to do both at the same
yeah.
time.
Well, yeah, it'll take you a while, but
Well, since I bought my car here in the States and picked it up when I came back from overseas in the Air Force, I got a stick and I bought a K car. How's that one?
K car.
That'll take you back.
yeah.
K car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they saved the American auto industry.
Yeah. Them things was made in Japan.
I don't
Just-
know K car.
It's Dodge product.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a good product.
Oh, they
I
was
bought-
good cars.
I bought it.
Was it a
with
brand or a
with
model?
It's
It was a
model.
brand. It was a model, but it was
niche.
made by the Chrysler
And it was a
Corporation.
front wheel drive car.
Well,
That
let me
was, one
rephrase.
of the big
Chrysler
things.
sold it. It
Yeah.
was made in Japan, but Chrysler sold it underneath their brand. So
Okay.
So the bottom line, I got it with a 4-speed in it because I wanted the better gas mileage.
and some of them had 3-cylinder engines in them.
And you had to you wanted that because folks that are old enough remember when Carter was president and we went through the
73.
problem with the gas and everything. So I
Lines.
come back home and I picked up a car in Las Vegas.
Hmm.
I didn't pick it up in California. If I got it in California, it had all kinds of gizmos on it that made the gas mileage go down to protect against pollution.
But that probably regulated your speed and stuff too, didn't it?
It sure, well,
They're still fighting that type of fight.
it was just, it was a hassle. I mean, I wanted the car because I was going to get about 23 miles to a gallon
Yeah, that's about what they got.
at that time.
That's good for back then.
So yeah, because it had a carburetor in
Oh
it.
yeah, all them back in them days.
I had a Volkswagen Rabbit, and I could put $5 in and go for like a week, and I drove till the wheels fell off of that sucker.
Mhm.
It actually got 300 and something thousand miles on it, and then one
Wow.
wheel went that way. I'm bad, clearly, about the UV joints and stuff, Duck.
And
I
ball
haven't learned
joints.
in 30 years.
And ball joints.
Yeah, I'm ball joint. Well, I'm going to get my car this weekend, so I'm going to bring it to you, the truck.
That's fine. No problem. So Dave, you mentioned a while ago about the car show coming.
Yes.
They have changed this up a little bit far as pre-registering.
Oh, okay.
It's still the same btbautoparts.com. And then in the corner, you're going to click on car show.
Oh,
And then it's
okay.
going to take you down to another one. You click on it, and that's where you go to pre-register. This year, you
Maybe I
cannot
could show it.
pay on online. We're going to collect all the money when you register, when you come in to register at your car show. Had a little trouble with that last year. It got kind of messed up. So they decided to change that up a little bit. This year we went up $25 to register your vehicle, and all the money, 100% of that $25 goes strictly to Ronald McDonald House. Ronald McDonald House people will be there. Channel 4, we're going to have a segment on Channel 4 about a week before the car show again this year.
Well, I think a lot of our listeners are familiar, but it's not just best to show car, best to show truck. There's a lot of other categories
Oh,
that
there's
you can enter
categories.
in
You can
and
win a
win.
class award.
Yeah, best of car, best of truck. We're going to have best of muscle car, the best original. Then this is a car that's still got all the original parts on it,
A
Yep.
true
Yeah.
original,
There'll
not
be some-
restored.
there'll be some stuff that has been changed, but it's been put back original. And we're gonna have best of Corvette, and then we're gonna have best of off road this year too.
And the best one is, or my favorite personally, is the Rat Rod,
Yeah.
where it looks like they just emerged out of a junkyard
Yep.
and it started turning over on wheels.
And it could be a mix between Ford and Chevrolet and Dodge and
You won't even recognize it as a car half the
mailboxes.
time.
I seen one time the guy had his where he put his fuel in. He had a mailbox. He opened the mailbox door up. That's
Had
where
to
his fuel
deliver,
came.
huh?
Yep.
The
That's-
stick shift is just a welded chain link.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love the Rat Rod stuff.
Russell and Blake's been gathering up pieces to make the Rat Rod trophy this year. I told him, I said, can you cut the weight down a little bit?
Yeah.
No, it's got to be 60 pounds, functional diff that turns the trophy.
Well, he's got a big old. He
That's
usually
exactly
gets a
what he told
big
me.
old,
I love it.
Flywheel in there. It
Yeah.
weighs 40 pounds.
You got to dolly that thing to your winner.
Just about. Just
But
about.
him and Blake could get that made here, before the car show. all year long, they got a tote over there, and they'll put camshafts and sprockets and stuff that they pull off. One of them look at, hey, let's save this. So
well, it matches the creativity of the cars.
It does.
That's what really goes hand in hand with it.
Because there ain't no telling what it may. It may have a camshaft out of a Dodge. It may, one year he used a camshaft out of a Cummins, diesel pickup. So it'll be made out of all kind of different.
It'll be
things.
cool.
Yep, it'll be cool.
Be listening to my show in the morning of the show, and we'll talk about it. I'll have you on, and we'll talk about it.
We'll have a picture of it. Once they get it made, then we'll get a picture sent to James, and he'll get it put on the website. But if you'll go to the btbautoparts.com car show /car and then you can register. When you go to where it says car show, you click on it, and then it's going to take you down to the bottom of the page, according to what I've been told. And you can pre-register your car there. Normally we have about 30 pre-register every year. Sometimes has been many as 40, has been low as 20, but most people are going to look at the weather and see what the weather's doing.
Well, since we're inside,
yes,
rain or shine, we're having the show.
Yeah, we're going to have the show. It don't matter if it's raining, and if it's raining and you have your car in a trailer, we're going to open the door and let you drive in, unload your car inside the building. That way your car don't get wet, and you ain't got to be trying to get back there and get it. We can wipe back down, clean back up. So
with the amount of people that come in and show up, and versus who all pre-registers, it always seems like as soon as we cut off the time on registration, there's still about 10 people who still want to try and get registered. So it's highly recommended to just go ahead and pre-register.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're there and it's 10 o'clock and you're in line, we're going to put you in. Now somebody's going to walk out that last car and say, okay, this is it, because we got to have a cutoff time, because we got to be able to judge, anywhere from 130 to 170 cars. We got to get enough time to judge them.
It's a big show.
Yeah. And
people forget how big this show is.
Me and Russell was looking at ducks yesterday, and he said, Dad, what about these? And I said, I'm fine with it. He found some that glows in the dark.
When you're at the show and your kid got a hold of some kind of noisemaker, whistle, or something else, I can point you where it came from.
No, you can't, because I've been banned from that.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll get ready for Bill O'Reilly here on the Dave Elswick Show.
We bring you the biggest news stories of the day, not to tell you what to think, but to allow you to have the most information so you can make up your mind. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. If you're nearing retirement, stop what you're doing and listen, because what's unfolding right now could hit your 401k or IRA harder than anything we've seen in years. Military escalation across the Middle East, a tariff war spilling into the courts, the U.S. dollar facing pressure that historically signals one thing: a flight to safety. Smart money has been moving into gold and silver, and it's not slowing down. Call Advantage Gold right now at 800-900-8000 and get your free gold investment kit, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's eye-opening book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their retirement savings into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty-free through Advantage Gold. The next news cycle won't wait for you. Get into position now. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com. 101.1, The answer. Something big is happening and you need to be in the know. Operation Epic Fury is here and the only place to get all the details. Stay tuned and listen closely for updates on Operation Epic Fury on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Weber Automotive in Conway and Total Tire and Automotive in Conway. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1 The Answer.
All right, back with you here in studio, Dave Elswick Show. Want you to know that we'll be back again next week, but Friday we won't be. The station grants a holiday for Good Friday, so we'll be off on next Friday.
Dave,
So
ain't Easter early this year?
It seems early. It's going to be April 5th, I guess it is.
Yeah, that's what
the weekend.
I was thinking. It was always about the third weekend in April when it come around, but
It's the next. It's weekend after next.
yeah,
I always judge it on, is the Masters before or after Easter?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the Masters. I always do.
I do.
I sit back and watch. It's just like watching, the dance. To watch the basketball, college basketball. I don't miss many of those games. I watch them because, man, those are like you lose and you're done. One and you're done. And
Yep, it's going to be a good ball game tonight.
Tonight Razorbacks are
Actually,
playing
there's going to
Arizona.
be 4 games tonight. It's going to be good games.
Yeah.
It's a good game, not the classic heart attack Hogs.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, they were heart attack Hogs with High Point.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, High Point was.
They were a good team.
They was that little guard they had.
Good.
He's a good guard.
He could shoot it from anywhere on the court.
Kind of like A Cup. A Cup,
Yeah.
it don't matter where he's at, he can shoot it and make it. But
He's on fire.
But he was a good guard. But our bigs is what killed him.
Brazil,
Yeah.
and an outstanding game last
And they said
week.
the other guy's coming back tonight, going to play.
Pringle,
Pringle. Yeah.
good.
They said he'll be back tonight to play.
So we'll have all 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
we can really
It's going to be a fight.
you can clamp down at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Although Arizona's a little bit taller.
Hey, they got one boy in the
That's
middle
it.
there, 260 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's pretty good sized lad.
Yes, he is.
He's going to be hard to push around.
It's going to be a good game tonight. It really will be.
So when we come back from hard break, Dave, we're going to talk about this raffle that we're going to sell tickets to for Ronald McDonald House. It's going to have $1,000 value of it, and
one of 2 still lawn and garden packages that they're
it's got a
giving away.
chainsaw, a leaf blower, and a trimmer in it, and it's all battery powered, and you get batteries along with it and everything. So when we come back, we'll discuss that some more too.
Well, you want to pick up a couple of extra batteries and keep them charged up so that
I think
the blower will run out fast. So
I think it comes with 3 batteries. I think.
Oh, well,
what
then
I've been
that's
told.
that's a good deal then. As far
I
as
think
that's
it comes with
concerned.
3 batteries and the charger and everything go along with it. But it's made by Steel Corporation, which is a good product.
All right, Bill O'Reilly. Then we're back.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, you need a pharmacy that works smarter, not harder. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. Forget doctor visits, pharmacy lines, or dealing with insurance. All Family Pharmacy makes it simple. Go online, choose your medications, fill out a quick medical form. A doctor reviews your request, provides the prescription if it's appropriate. Then they ship it right to your door. Stock up on antibiotics, ivermectin, more. Please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code Bill10 for 10% off. On this Thursday, Delta Airlines has cut off all perks to Congresspeople flying out of Washington, D.C. The company has suspended personal security escorts as well as preferential security screening. Good for Delta. The failure to pay TSA personnel is a contrived gambit to force Homeland Security to basically stop immigration enforcement. Senator Charles Schumer is demanding judicial warrants be issued before undocumented foreign nationals are detained. Schumer well knows that's impossible. There aren't enough judges in our entire country. to analyze millions of immigration cases. When President Biden decided to open the southern border to migrants, more than 10 million poured in here during his catastrophic 4-year term. Senator Schumer had no problem with that, despite the chaos that followed. Now, Schumer wants all but extremely dangerous migrants to stay in the country and is using TSA agents as hostages to try to achieve that. Who gets hurt? We do, waiting on lines for hours. Schumer is likely to fail, but in the meantime, everybody suffers. Back in a moment. Homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are everywhere and they're targeting your equity. With just a single forged document, they can file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More.
The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Sullivan's Automotive in Little Rock, Carter Radiator Service in Little Rock, and Walker Auto Repair in Jacksonville. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the car and pickup truck show that's coming up on Saturday, May the 2nd. So we're about a month away when we hit Saturday of this week.
About a month away.
Keep that in mind. Go to www.btbautoparts.com and /car show.
Yeah, and then it's going to take you to the page, where you need to go register if you
go to
want to
the
register.
landing page.
Yeah, and we're going to, like I say, all the money will be collected at the door this year. Like I say, Dave, we've had a little problem collecting money over the internet deal, so they just decided, hey, it'd be easier just to collect it all at the door. If you pre-register, we're going to have everything filled out. All you got to do is get your number and go park your car.
Yeah,
and,
to save you time, it saves us time.
Well, and this year we're going to, in the past, like when they get down to the very end and they got to send people out to go find a car that, that got missed. And so we're going to number the rows this year, whatever, how many rows we're going to have numbers on them. And we're going to, once everybody gets parked, and then once you get parked, and you're going to look up on the wall and see the number on the wall, and hey, I'm in spot number 9 in row 10.
Row A.
No, we're going to be 1 through, start off with numbers. But,
okay, you're going to do
and
numbers.
It'll make it easier for our judges to find the car, and it'll make it easier for us to find you if we got questions we need to ask you about it. Instead of having to go out there and start looking, hey, we need card number 39 or card number 440 or whatever. So
these judges don't just make one pass. They go back to the same car several times sometimes because it's not easy to judge these cars. It comes
down at times to rust flakes.
Paint chips.
Towards the end of the beginning of the afternoon, when we're kind of getting ready to hand out awards, you'll see them start getting under the cars and looking
at everything
just to see who's going to be the winner.
So let me give you a Dave Elswick word of advice. Leave your trunk open
and your hood open.
Leave that hood up and make sure your trunk is clean.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because that's part of the judging is you're under your hood clean, you're under and in your trunk clean. That is part of the deal. And if you don't have your trunk open, you get a 0 for that.
Yeah, and that'll kill you. You're done.
Yeah, if you get 1 0 because you didn't leave your trunk open, or whatever, or your hood open, the judges will not ask you to open it. Now we'll announce it the whole time. Hey, please make sure your trunk and please make sure your hood is open so the judge can see it. We got a couple of new judges this year that have done it in the past for other car shows, and we got Tom Woods. He's going to be there. He's kind of overseer of the judges
he's been
this
around
year.
Forever.
He owns a upholstery shop over North Little Rock, and he does some $18,000, $20,000, and $30,000 and $40,000 upholstery jobs on these cars. So he's got an idea what to look for,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah, he does.
a couple of the guys that has built antique cars in the past, they got an idea what to look for, you know. So we got some good judges still this year. We've had good judges in the past, you know. It's hard to find a judge that will come out and do it. We donate. They don't never want to pay, so we wind up donating money to some charity for them or whatever. So just remember when you come out, you know, they're trying to walk around and look at your car, make sure it's wiped clean, you know, make sure the trunk's open, make sure the hood's open, roll your windows down so they don't have to open the door and see in it. They can just look inside it through the window, you know.
And if you bring your kids with you, that's cool.
Hey, that's
Kids
it.
don't get to see these cars very often. Bottom line, though,
Don't touch.
don't touch.
And I've never seen any issues or anything like that. You know, there's
Never.
never really been any griping too bad or anything, but
Most parents know
hmm
And
kids
some of
not to
those
touch.
boys probably respect them cars. I know mine did when they were little. They were like, "That's so cool," and they were
certainly.
like, "They didn't want to."
They do.
hmm
Yeah.
As
Well-
bad as I want to climb in there and
Yeah.
sit behind the driver's wheel, I refrain from it too.
If you walk up to the car, don't, and there's rope around it, there'll be some poles or whatever, and they use the rope to keep you away from the car because they don't want you leaning up against it or whatever. Respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm cautious about my lanyard tag. You know, I
Yeah.
put that
Yeah.
inside my shirt when I'm hanging over, looking inside and everything.
Yeah.
I just don't want to touch nothing.
Nothing.
you know.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of
These guys put more than just money into that.
sweat and a lot of work go
They're
into these
babies.
cars and a
Mhm.
lot of money.
And we're going to have the Peterson people out of Kansas City, Missouri. They're bringing 2 vehicles this year.
Have they said what they're bringing?
James told me, and I don't remember what he told me.
They
Dave.
brought an honest to God Woody last year.
Yes.
And that was cool.
Tell me who the
Yeah, we're not-
Peterson people
We're
are.
not talking, the Woodies that had the plastic wood on it.
Oh no, these had
I'm talking
Actual
real
wood.
wood.
I bet those were heavy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Them was $200,000 cars. Dave,
Yeah, I know.
that
I
they brought
talked,
down here.
we
you know.
talked to the guy from the museum. And this is a museum that if you go to Kansas City, you just don't park in their parking lot and walk in.
No, you
And
got to be asked to.
You got to be given an invitation.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
guy
They
told
come
me
in and
last
do
year.
it.
He said, "You and Teresa show up. I'll take you all over up there." And it's a Peterson light manufacturer that makes lights for trucks and pickups and cars and 18 wheelers and trailers. You know, they make all kind of lights for for everything. And they I guess they've got in to some antique cars, and they got their own. Basically, they got
get
their own show.
group that
Yeah.
does them. So it's
And they
really
trailer them.
cool.
They don't drive them nowhere. They trailer them. They'll bring them down in 2 trailers. And these guys are very cautious about their car. And
That's why the
can't say
cars
that,
sit right next to my broadcast booth.
that's right. And that's why they'll be roped off like they was last year.
Yeah.
'Cause they bring their own stands for the ropes and everything. I mean, they do this professionally, and but them guys, Dave, as you talked to them last year, they was just super nice guys.
Oh, they were great guys, but
Um,
and they came on and they talked about the cars and talked about why they thought they were so unique and special that people needed to see them. I mean, I understood the Woody. I looked at that Woody and I thought of the Beach Boys album.
with
that
the
came
surfboard
out,
on
the
top.
surfboard on top, and the Beach Boys all standing next to it.
Yeah.
That was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
To say it on the West Coast.
Do they
When-
are these cars just for show, or do they ever sell any of
No,
them?
I'm sure.
They don't sell them.
They don't sell them.
Yeah.
No, they're all for show.
Peterson. No, Peterson doesn't sell theirs.
No, they're all for.
No, I mean like for the car show.
Yeah,
You'll see a few that,
Some of them will
be for
sell.
sale. You won't see many. No, used to, back in the day, you'd see a few for sale. I think we only had 3 last year hit for sale signs on them.
yeah, and I think all of those people wear oxygen masks.
Yeah,
They had some age on them. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
The only cars that they have around where you can kind of interact and touch on their stuff, they'll have these binders of when they bought the car out of a barn and pictures
Yeah.
of it,
Oh, wow,
from
yeah.
30, 40 years ago of when they bought it with their dad or something like that. And just going through their flip book of,
Yeah, that's
of
cool.
the process
Oh,
is
yeah.
incredible. It's
I
so
remember
cool.
we had a Chevrolet truck one time, and this guy was about 6'5", 6", somewhere along in there. And I was kept looking at it. It was a 56 Chevrolet pickup. And I asked him, I said, so what have you done to it? So he went and got his book.
Yeah.
He had cut the truck right down the center of the cab, and he had added 14 inches to it
Oh gosh.
to make it where him and his wife could travel in it. And he had made the cab bigger because he was, she was tall and he was tall, so they could ride comfortable in it.
That's cool.
And I asked him, I said, how'd you come up with the idea? He said, I was out in the shop one day messing with it. And he said, I went over and got my reciprocating saw and I went to cutting on it. He said, my wife come out and said she liked to have a stroke because I was cutting it in half. And he said, once I got through with it, he said she was tickled to death. He said, I had to get, windshields made bigger and everything.
Yeah.
So, but you could not tell where he'd cut it. I mean, it was, and he cut hood and all. I mean, he started at the front and cut it all. And I think he told me he added 14 inches to it.
That's crazy.
Because them old 56 Chevrolets, they was real narrow anyway.
Yeah.
And they was real short. They was designed for short people, not tall people. But
And that's why you got to stop and talk to these people at their booth too, at their cars, because they're sitting in lawn chairs. If you talk to them, they're going to tell you so much more than you would have never guessed.
Here's something that you always hear. Why did you do that car?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's always some great stories. The muscle cars, I can tell you why they did it.
Because they had one when they were younger.
They had one when they were younger.
Or that some of their buddies had one and they always wanted
Yep,
one.
absolutely.
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 But we're going to sell raffle tickets for these garden package day, and they're $5 per ticket, and all the money that goes strictly to Ronald McDonald House. We raised right at 8,000, 9,000. I don't remember exactly what James told us the other day how much we raised, but Ronald McDonald House appreciates it. They are them ladies up there. They go out of the way to help people, and I'm proud they do, Dave, because somebody needs to help these people.
Oh, yeah.
We've all helped them. I've fixed their vehicles for them, in the past, and bumper to bumper, donate all the parts, and take them back home. And I tell Blake, stop and fill them up with gas. Make sure they got it's full of gas, and we'll take it, drive it back up there. And these people, I have got a few letters from the mothers and the dads, stuff that we've done for them, and
those folks don't have to prepare any meals.
no,
They don't have to wash any clothes.
no,
Their beds are made up for them, the whole 9 yards. All you're there for is to take care of your child.
take care of your child. And if you got kids, I've seen Miss Janelle and all them babysitting kids, because they got a very sick kid over at Children's Hospital, and and they don't have nobody to leave their kids with, so they had to bring the other kids with them. So them people up there,
They do a good
take
job.
Good, and they got 32 beds up there. I think it's 32 is what Janelle told me. That they, and it don't cost you nothing to stay there. If you want to donate to them, they'll take your money.
Yesterday, I went through McDonald's at Cabot.
Yep.
And I bought the big arch because I wanted to try it and see what it was like. And it was all right. Filled me up. But I noticed that now on their sign, since everybody's rounding up cost, they ask you, do you want to round up your cost? And the extra money that comes from rounding it up, they give to the Ronald McDonald House. So you don't have to worry about leaving change in that thing. That thing's there, but I noticed it wasn't just packed with coins.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I hadn't seen them as often as I used to, because that was the best place to get rid of all your car change that
Yeah.
accumulates in your cup holders.
Yeah, and what people really don't understand is McDonald's don't have nothing to do with that
No.
money.
Mm-mm.
They don't even have a key to the safe. They don't have a key to the box to get into it. And if you drop your credit card down in there by accident,
It takes a while to get it
it
back.
usually takes a couple of days for Ronald McDonald to send people out to open it up so you can get your credit card out. And
Well, when he's walking around, he's got those freaking big shoes on.
got to have something to fill them up with,
It's tough to get around.
But, and I've asked about having Ronald McDonald at the car show.
Oh, it's a big deal.
They only have 3 Ronald McDonalds now, and we're on the waiting list. One of these days, they're going to surprise me and say, "Hey, he's coming."
Yeah.
Isn't it what, like a 3-4 year wait list right now?
It was 5. When I signed this up, it was 5 years, and that's been 3 years ago. So.
Wow.
So hopefully that one of these days, I asked Janelle, I said, do you not have a Ronald McDonald suit? I said, I'm pretty sure I can find somebody to wear it.
You want to know who we should call and ask them to join us?
Who's that?
The Wienermobile.
Oscar Mayer Wiener?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They travel around.
Yeah.
Now,
They had
and then everybody can curse me out because they're going to give your kid a whistle. You know, the little hot dog whistle that they hand.
You know,
out.
they had an ad the other day in the paper on the internet. My wife showed it to me. They was looking for drivers for them.
Where are they?
Yeah, they said they got 35 different vehicles that they send around all over the United States. They was looking for drivers, and it paid like $60,000 a year.
Yeah, kids love them.
Oh yeah,
They walk.
Hey,
I mean, how often do you see a hot dog driving around your town?
Hey, we've seen them many times. You know, been out traveling. We'll pass one or see one sitting in the parking lot, and we have stopped. And I got my picture took with it a few times. So,
Yep.
You know, but you know, it's just weird looking. See it coming down the
Yeah,
road.
it's
Long time ago, I used to work at the Mini Cooper dealer, and they would have all those Red Bull minis coming in. It has the big can in the
Yeah,
back. It looks like
that's
it's
cool.
carrying. Well, we all got excited because every time they come in, they'd load up their cooler backpacks and walk around the whole dealer and hand
Oh,
out
really?
free Red Bulls.
yeah.
Whole dealership got a lot of work done on those days.
You
I
guys
bet.
were lit up. All right, you had wings. Didn't
Oh
you?
yeah, I was flying.
But I want to thank Bumper to Bumper Dave. You know, they the one that supplies most of the money for all this. We
Yes,
do
they
raise
do.
a little bit. All the money we raise goes straight to Ronald McDonald House. All the donation to registering your car. That's why we went up. We went from $20 to $25 this year, just trying to raise them more money so they can have more money to take care of these kids. You know, we didn't do it because of any reason but that's the only reason that we went up on it. You know, we're going to sell these packages. We're all going to have a box at our shop, and we're all going to sell the raffle tickets. You don't have to be present to win.
There you go.
That's one thing that I made a stipulation a few years ago. Look, if I sell these tickets at my customers through the shop, you know, they may not be there. So I want to make sure that if they do win, they still can get their package.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're a customer of Austin and you win and you're not there, we'll give the package to Austin and he can take it and you can go by Austin and pick it up. The only thing you got to show your driver's license, you know, in order to receive it.
You'll have to hurry up. Those are nice tools. I'll be outside using them.
You have to show your ID.
I was going to say the same.
I won't get into it.
I know.
All right. It's let's make it 9 minutes until 8:00 here on the Car and Truck Doctors. We'll take a quick break. Then we'll come back and finish it up for this Thursday on the Dave Elswick Show.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Join me weekdays for This Morning, America's First News. Hear the stories you'll be talking about and searching for all day as we go beyond the headlines and above the chatter with your first look at breaking news, money, Washington politics, technology, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and sports. We explain why stories matter. That's why we are referred to as the most important and relevant radio program. Join us weekdays for This Morning, America's First News.
If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer. 101.1, The Answer. Weather.
Another nice day in store for us today. Lots of sunshine and a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. High of 86. Down to 64 tonight. A slight chance of rain tomorrow and otherwise cloudy. High of 77.
The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Joe's Garage in North Little Rock, Mid-State Transmission and Auto Repair in Benton, and Pinnacle Automotive in Little Rock. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
Yeah, that Pinnacle place, the owner is right here.
Well, I'm gonna walk across the road, go to work after this.
You're right around the corner. That's right.
You like the new studios?
Oh yeah. It makes it way easier. I don't feel like I'm rushing near as often.
It's good.
It's a whole lot easier
It's
to get
close
here
to
than
your
going all the way
coffee shop.
downtown.
I'm not driving as fast as Duck here, but I can get here on time.
I got one speed.
Yeah,
Fast.
it's high speed.
Flat, both feet flat on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
riding comfortable.
That's what it is. I can understand that. I got stopped this week
Hey,
on Monday,
I ain't been stopped lately, but I got stopped coming out of Hardy here a couple, 3 years ago.
and I got stopped by a Pulaski
Sheriff
Yeah.
for speeding.
Yeah, he said I was going too fast. He asked me, did I know how fast I was going? I said, yeah, too fast. and he says, but the main thing I want to talk to you about is you didn't use your signal when you went around that 18-wheeler.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, that's the first time
Yeah, you very seldom hear that.
talking about signaling to me. Maybe that's on everybody's mind right now, and they're stopping people for not signaling. So
Not around me. Everybody just hits the brakes, and I got to figure out what they're doing.
That ain't no lie.
Mm-hmm.
They come in this
try to
morning.
get
they
around
hurt,
them.
They hurt and jerked all the way in this morning, running up there 80 mile an hour, slamming the brakes on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good for my business go. When you do that, you're eating them brake pads and rotors up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other people that we can send you to that do body work.
Yep.
Because most of the bumper to bumper certified service centers don't do body work.
No.
They just work on your engine.
So,
They stay in their lane, so
Yep.
to speak.
so Dave, we're talking about the car show a little bit more. All of us shops are going to have a box in our building. We're going to sell these raffle tickets for the lawn packages. I don't ever sell mine. If you come in with me and you spend $1,000, I'm going to give you a couple of tickets. I don't ever take no money from it. I just donate back, to Ron McDonald's through Duck's Garage. If you spend $2,000, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 tickets, maybe 4 tickets. It just, and I have had customers, Dave, come in and spend that, and I offer them tickets, and they, I don't want that.
Yeah, give them somebody else.
Yeah.
That's
them
a
somebody
famous phrase. Give them somebody else.
And I'm telling them, hey, look, it's a $1,000 lawn package. I know, I don't need it. Just give them somebody else.
I pay somebody to do my lawn.
And I do most time, most especially if I got somebody in there and I know they're struggling, I'll tell Ashley, hey, write a cup. And most time they don't even know it. I know their phone number, by the invoice and stuff. So she'll write them out a ticket and put their phone number, put it in the box. And then, we'll take the boxes with us when we go to the car show. We'll quit the Thursday before the car show. We won't do no more tickets at the shop after that, because we got to get everything gathered up and everything up to the car show. And it takes, on Friday, it'll take us about 5 hours to get the floor laid out, get the tape put down, get all the tables set up.
There's a lot of work. I mean, when we started off, it wasn't a big deal, but now it's so huge that it's a big deal to get ready.
But Dave, we got it down now to where we can have a couple of car show meetings before the car show. And
everybody knows what you got to do.
Yeah, because Jerry Rocher, he was the daddy of all that. He set it all up on computer. When he was doing it, he had it all up on computer, and we just went down to computer. Who's taking care of this? who's taking care of this, who's taking care of this, down
Right,
the list.
right.
We're used to, we had to sit down and think about it. Then we'd have the car show meeting. Then we'd forget something. Then we'd have to go back and have another one because we forgot half of what we needed to talk about. But nowadays we got it down pat where it ain't that way no more. It's pretty well simple.
Friday afternoon before the show, you'd think it's an aircraft carrier. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's got their head down. You know, they're moving and grooving.
Same way when we get there on Saturday morning. I have stayed in my camper, and we're probably going to stay in a camper this year. I have heard cars pull up at 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah,
come rumbling in there, and I walk out of the camper at 5:20, and they're already lined up 10 or 12 deep, waiting to get in.
Do you sleep in the front seat?
No, most of them are always standing out talking, drinking coffee. Supposedly we're going to have a coffee truck this year out there in the morning. It's going to be out front, for coffee. One of the food trailers is going to fix breakfast. They said they're going to be there around 8 o'clock and start fixing breakfast.
I mean, I like the donuts, but if I can get some eggs and bacon, I'll go back.
He said he's going to have biscuits and gravy and eggs and bacon and sausage. And
the problem is about 6 donuts in, there's not enough coffee for me to stay awake. I start dozing at my table.
Yeah, you get all those carbs in you. You go start
slowing
down.
When you become a diabetic, you just walk by and smell them and keep on walking.
I don't walk by. I eat one.
Well, I do too most time, but I'll start to the shop some mornings and Blake will call me, Daddy, stop and pick up donuts on the way to the shop. And I'll walk in with them, hand them to the guy, and the guy said, are you not going to eat one? I done smelled them all the way from here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I done raised my diabetic points up 100 already. So
do you stop at that famous donut shop in your area?
No, I can't.
Is it Hertz or something?
No, I work on Hertz's vehicle, but
okay.
And she'll bring donuts out there sometimes, and oh my God,
they're good, man. They are good.
Diabetic waiting to happen.
We're out of time, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks
all
bumper
to bumper people, and we appreciate y'all and come to the car show.
Yeah, we're excited for it.
Before I leave, real quickly, Austin, where are you located at?
1905 Henson Loop Road, Pinnacle Automotive, reaches 501-227-0619.
Duck's Garage in Benton, Arkansas, 501-778-2886. Talk to Russell, Blake, or Ashley. And sometimes I've been answering the phone because I've been shorthanded, so you can talk to me too.
All right, there you got it.
Have a good day, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
We got news coming up next. After the news, David Fisher from Landmark Capital. Take a look at the economy, see what he has to say about it.
James said that's yours to put on.
Find us at 1011fmtheanswer.com. Download our apps, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv. KDXE, Kamek Village, Little Rock.
And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us.
On social media this morning, the president wrote that Iranian negotiators better get serious soon before it's too late. A jury in Los Angeles has found Meta and YouTube liable in a landmark social media addiction trial.
The plaintiff is a 20-year-old woman who says she became addicted to social media as a child, and it exacerbated her mental health struggles. Her attorney, Mark Lanier, says this sends a strong message.
Just because of the features alone that drive addiction, these companies can be held accountable.
Other families were there backing this case. Juliana Arnold blames Instagram for her daughter's death.
They knew the harm, they knew the damage, they assessed the risk, and they moved forward anyway.
Meta's Ashley Nicole Davis says they will appeal. The companies are being ordered to pay $6 million in damages. I'm Ed Donahue.
Global financial markets are lower this morning. Oil prices have jumped back above $100 a barrel as the war against Iran drags on. AAA says today's national average for gasoline just under $4 at $3.98 a gallon. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The investigation continues into Sunday's deadly crash at New York's LaGuardia Airport between a jet and a fire truck.
Investigators say one of only 2 air traffic controllers on duty at LaGuardia Airport cleared a fire truck to cross a runway just 12 seconds before the Air Canada flight touched down Sunday night around 11:30. The collision killed both pilots. That audio from the tower, courtesy liveatc.net. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy says they're working to determine which of the airport's safety precautions failed.
We rarely, if ever, investigate a major accident where it was one failure.
One area of concern.
The midnight shift, as a reminder, is one that we have many times at the NTSB raised concerns about.
Julie Walker, New York.
The White House says President Trump's rescheduled summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping will take place on May 14 and 15. Townhall.com. A young fan in Pennsylvania has this year's only unblemished March Madness bracket.
The only person left out of millions who entered men's and women's NCAA tournament brackets in ESPN's competition is an 8th grader from suburban Pittsburgh. His name is Otto Shellhammer, and the 14-year-old is enjoying his one shining moment. He is 48-0 through the first weekend of the women's tournament. He'll try to push it to 56-0 when the Sweet 16 takes place on Friday and Saturday. The record for ESPN's competition is 57-0. The odds of a perfect bracket are steep. Most mathematicians put the number at around 1 in 28 billion. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
The U.S. Postal Service is seeking a temporary 8% charge on certain products, including priority mail. Officials say the price hike is needed to help blunt the impact of rising transportation costs. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Democrats stole the 2020 election, and it almost destroyed our country. Now career politician Kim Hammer is helping them do it again. He led the charge on Act 350 that punished any county that dare switch from unsecured voting machines to secure hand-marked paper ballots, and arrogantly said he has no concerns about our election process or equipment. Hammer is actively fighting against President Trump's election security plan. Here's Trump.
All Republican governors should immediately go for paper ballots, one-day
early voting and voter ID.
Who stands with Trump? Brian Norris. Brian Norris is a tough Army combat veteran, true political outsider, and dedicated conservative running to secure our elections. Norris will fight side by side with President Trump for paper ballots, hand counts, and audits to prevent stolen elections. For secure elections, vote Brian Norris by March 31st. Brian Norris, the America First choice for secure elections. Paid for by Restore Your Vote. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Agency says Detroit will start April 26th and run until January 17th, 2027. If postal regulatory commission legislators approve it. Postal Service says its competitors have already added fuel surcharges. The higher charge covers priority mail and several package services. First class stamps will stay the same. Earlier this month, the Postmaster General warned Congress that the postal service will run out of cash by February 2027. I'm Mr. Dwyer.
All right. Dave Elswick Show, and we'll be talking to David Fisher in a moment. He's going to appear on our stream. So if you're not on the stream, get on the stream now so that you can watch and hear what he has to say. There's some things to talk about that are going on right now. I mean, we all know what's going on in Iran. We have the president bombing the living daylights out of Iran, as are the Israelis right now. And they've got troops heading over that way for these islands that are off the coast of Iran. Hey David, I see on my computer. So let me ask you this question. Gold went down and Bitcoin went up. And I think it's already reversing itself. But was that a big surprise to you?
As much as Bitcoin went up and as much as gold went down in that flip that you're talking about, yes. Right. So I had to do the research and figure out why did that happen, because this is not a normal thing when a war breaks out. Of course, previous wars, we didn't have cryptocurrencies. So I thought, well, maybe this is the new trend. And if it is, I got to tell your listeners, here's what the new trends are for war.
Okay.
But here's what I found out. It's a blip. So the Iranian, first of all, let's go back to the Iranian currency called the rial. It's in complete free fall. In 2018, $1 cost 40,000 rials. And today, $1 costs 1.4 million rials. So the currency's collapsed 90% against the dollar.
Sounds like the Weimar Republic, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very close to that. They just didn't print a whole lot of money like the Republic in Germany to get out of their debt situation. Of course, who knows what might happen next. So a lot of Iranians try to get out of the country, and their country is totally different from any other country. A lot of restrictions, a lot of financial restrictions, a lot of government controls, evidenced by they kill their citizens for, standing up against this regime. So trying to get out prior to the war on an airplane with gold in your pockets was an impossible feat because they stopped you and they wouldn't let you take gold out of the country.
Wow.
And so when gold is a physical product, it's not a paper product, neither is silver. And so when this happened, shipping gold across that region, the air field was shut down too. And Dubai, 20% of the gold trades out of Dubai, United Arab Emirates. So gold couldn't get moved. So therefore, gold got discounted in that region by about $30 under this, what you call the spot price of gold. But here's what happened with the cryptocurrency. So other Iranians got a little bit smart. And then word caught on, let's do the same thing. What do? Well, they shifted over their money, sold out of gold at discounted levels, which dropped the market even more, and then put it into Bitcoin, put it in their pocket in a thumb drive, and just knowing how many other, the password is, I guess like 7 words or something like that, they got on the plane. So here's what the volume of Bitcoin did in Iran. Iran's exchange there's a firm called Elliptic and an exchange in Iran called Norbix. It's the largest cryptocurrency exchange. Within minutes of the war breaking out in the United States and Israel, Bitcoin surged 700% in transactions in Iran. So funds were leaving through Bitcoin. And then it sharply hit at $2 million an hour transaction in Bitcoin. So it didn't stop at 700%. And then they were doing regularly 875% volume on a regular basis and every day on an hourly basis. So it just was a trajectory. So here's what happened to Bitcoin. February 28th, the war broke out. Bitcoin was 66,000. It peaked in March 17th to 75,000, or increased almost 14%. But then it fell 8%. It's down over 20% year to date. Last year, which is 96% annually. Last year, it lost 6.4%. So it was a blip. Okay. Crypto is not the place to put your money, to protect your money against the long-term problems of financial calamity and overspending.
Okay, so, I listen to all the words you say coming out of your mouth when you're here on my show. And I was watching when the Strait of Hormuz was closing up, and I was looking at the countries that were having no problem paying the money to go through the Straits of Hormuz, and then I happened to notice that all the countries were part of the BRICS people that were in on this, and I thought, well, maybe they're trying to control the petrodollar now. What happened there?
So that's part of it. But I'm finding out it's much bigger than BRICS, unfortunately. This thing called dollar de-dollarization, which is, in essence, the world seeking alternative ways to buy things using their own currency, using a platform between two countries and not having the dollar in the middle. This all started when we seized Russian assets. And that freaked the world out in 2022 under Biden. And since then, the dollar de-dollarization has grown to epic levels, and it hasn't put on the brakes since the war. And here's what I found out. So BRICS is 11 nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and a few others, United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. And it's going to get bigger. It's over 50% of the world. But it's not just BRICS that's de-dollarizing. The ASEAN countries, which is 10 countries of the world, those countries, which are Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Armenia, Luxembourg, I can go on. And then it doesn't stop there. We have 25 African nations that are de-dollarizations. Wow. The African nations, in fact, in the African nations, they're actually prohibiting the usage of the dollar of transactions between their countries, is what I found out, Dave. And it doesn't stop there. There's another group that's called the Commonwealth of Independent States, 11 of them. And we're talking Armenia, Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine. And some of these, these entities that I'm listing, BRICS and ASEAN and so forth, there's cross-referencing some of the countries, so there's some duplicates in there. But the bottom line is simply this: the world is freaked out that are they going to be the next target being forced to use the dollar? And if we don't get in line, they get in line, Americans are going to come with their vengeance and do things to seize their money. So out of that fear and out of the dollar falling enormously last year, they have lots of incentives to not hold a depreciating asset, 9.5%, which is the biggest fall in the dollar in any year going back to 1971. Number two, their fear of them seizing their money. So why would they want them to be in a dollar-denominated asset where they can seize it versus put their money something else like gold or their own currency? And the third thing is, just like I said before, Human nature says, I want to support my own country. I want to support my own currency.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do when you have a country, just like the United States supports its own currency. And that human nature is not going to go away. So we have these other two things where, plus on top of that, the debt, where our United States debt, we can't manage it. It just gives all this incentive where dollar dollarization has not shrunk since the war. It's impacted, and the war confirms more of this. So I think dollar dollarization is here to stay, and it's only going to get much larger, which is a big problem for the United States.
Okay, so that's not good news. I thought that when the Fed came out here, was it this week? They said that they were going to lower interest rates.
Yeah, they came out, and Jerome Powell talked about that actually last Wednesday.
Okay.
We didn't have enough time to go in depth in it because we had other things. And so the Fed did not lower interest rates. They kept it the same. We had 3 lower rates last year. The rates are at 3.5% to 3.75%. But they're discussing the problem that they are having. Right before the Fed came out, we had this producer price index report, which is a wholesale report, and it was highly inflationary. It's supposed to come in at 0.3%. It came raring hot at 0.7%, which is, the Fed said, we have a big problem. They can't control inflation, and inflation is now not transitory. It's embedded. I mean, some of the reports, like the dry vegetables, were up 48% last year. From last year to this year, they're up 48% dry vegetables. Now, that's not like a big thing, but oil is up 2.4%, and some of it's related to the war. But the fear is that how long will this last? And that's why this is not under control. So now we're talking about the possibility of a recession. So here's what's going on. We'll talk about recession next week, but let's talk about the odds of rate hike versus rate reduction. So right now, the odds have shifted quite a bit since just the last week, and certainly since the beginning of the year. There is now only a 1 to possibly 2% rate cut coming the next meeting, which is going to be in April. There's only a 68% chance of a rate cut only. That's a large number. A 68% chance of a rate cut in December. So we might only have one. Now, here's the flip side of that, rate hikes. Now they're talking about a rate hike. There's odds of this. 12 to 26% of a rate hike percentage chance sometime in 2026. A few weeks ago, it was 0.
Yeah, I'm wondering what has changed. Is it the war in Iran that's changed all this?
Well, there's 3 big drivers that are happening. The war is one of them, with the risk of oil going up, which is inflationary. That's probably one of the hugest factor. Inflation is not cooling prior to the war. The whole thought we all were thinking that rates would go down, inflation would go down, but the Fed has not been able to get to the 3% target. And the third thing is Fed officials are extremely cautious now because there's this Dr. Doolittle push me, pull you thing going on between higher prices, which are inflationary, and lowering rates to get the national debt payment down and lowering rates to stimulate the economy. So they're in a no-win situation.
We got a big mess. That's what we got.
It's a huge mess. It's like this is the beginnings of what we talked about before, the 1970. We're in 1973 right now with oil, with inflation. Nothing's broken out to in a stagflation yet, but they keep talking about this, Dave, and we keep seeing threats of recession. We're going to talk about this next week on your program. And if this happens, we're going to be in a massive rally in gold and silver and very detrimental for stocks. And I'm not anti-stock or anti-United States, and not all roads lead to gold and silver, but I'm telling you, it's a mirror image of the beginnings of this. We're going to know shortly here, probably in the next 3 or 4 months once the war kind of simmers down, and I hope it does. But if it doesn't, we're going to be in a stagflationary environment, a 1970s all over again.
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, this is unbelievable. The canaries are singing in the mine. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what the data is showing. That's what we're reporting on your station to your listeners, so that, investing is just simply this: assessing what's going on in the current economic environment and where things might change and move to, so that people can make certain changes in their portfolio to adjust to either protect their money or grow their money more effectively. And change is in the wind. And this year, 2026, is an extremely uncertain, volatile environment. But it's all going to change here again, I believe. And that's what the reports that I'm reading from the people that I respect and who have been spot on and saying things in the past, in the last 3-4 years. And those are the ones that I'm listening to. I'm not listening to the cheerleaders on Wall Street saying everything's going to go up like crazy, because quite frankly, year to date, all 3 indexes are down. They're in the red. And we're talking about 3.4% for the NASDAQ, or for the S&P and the Dow, and over 5% for the NASDAQ. We're talking 20% amortization over the year if this thing continues for the NASDAQ, and 16% for the S&P and the Dow, versus gold is up about 3% year to date. So that's about 18%. So, this is a time where things are just messy in the market. We're going to get out of this environment. No environment like this lasts forever. But I can tell you, and we're going to talk more about this next week on your program, what happens when we get towards the end of a financial mess. What happens to gold and silver? What happens to stocks? Because I think we're coming, hopefully, and maybe this is a knock on wood moment, for all of us, that we might have some sort of closure in this war, because they're finally talking. They're not agreeing, but they're talking. And that's a big step in the right direction. If they agree on something, but the problem is they're miles apart on these non-negotiable things like the Strait of Hormuz and repatriation, or paying for the war efforts, us paying for all that, and having nuclear enrichment uranium. Those are 3 things that we just won't negotiate on, and they won't either. So we're miles apart, but this could turn into a mess, or we could be just one step away from a closure on all this, and an opening up fully the Strait of Hormuz, and things can get back to normal. Once they get back to normal, dollar to dollarization, debt increasing massively, dollar falling, gold and silver rising. That's the key.
All right. I appreciate you joining us today, David.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
David is with Landmark Capital. I'll give you that phone number. I'll talk about the white papers when we come back. We got to get into a break here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Battle going on, not only for our future, but that of our children and grandchildren. How do we ensure they have it better than we do? One way is to keep listening to us. We're your information source in the battle. 101.1, The Answer.
The price of gold is surging to new highs. It's already topped $5,000 an ounce. The only question is, how much money will you make when gold hits $6,000 an ounce? Investors like you have made small fortunes off the run-up in precious metals, and not just with gold stocks or ETFs. Many have taken advantage of a little-known gold investment officially released by the U.S. government. Now you can too, when you get our free special report from veteran trader and investor Jim Woods. It's called Gold Wealth Boosters. This new report outlines amazing gold investments that have returned 12 to 26 times more than investing in gold bullion itself. Given the uncertainty in world markets, the investments outlined in Jim Woods' Gold Wealth Boosters report are crucial in 2026, and it's free. To get your free Gold Wealth Boosters report, log on to EagleGoldReport.com. EagleGoldReport.com. That's EagleGoldReport.com.
Something big is happening, and you need to be in the know. Operation Epic Fury is here, and the only place to get all the details. Stay tuned and listen closely for updates on Operation Epic Fury on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Now, back to the Dave Elswick Show. 101.1. The Answer.
All right, back with you here on the Dave Elswick Show. Told you about a couple of white papers that David Company offers to you, Landmark Gold. The first one is the Golden Era that has a silver lining, and David put that together. And as well, BRICS. I brought that up immediately today with David because I noticed a lot of the countries that were, the Iranians were saying we're going to start charging $2 million a ship for people to go through the Straits of Hormuz. The people who were talking to the mullahs or whoever is in control right now, I don't even know who's in control in Iran. They're talking to them about how much you're wanting to charge boats coming through, and they're all BRICS people. So this is going to have a financial impact on BRICS, and they've got a white paper for you to read called "The New Financial System That Could Dethrone the U.S. Dollar as the Global Reserve Currency." Now, you can get both of them absolutely free. All you got to do is call the folks at Landmark Gold at 844-604-2575, and you can ask for those reports. You can also talk to them about investing in gold and silver. Now's the time to get into the market. I'm just telling you, it looks like it's going to continue to climb. 844-604-2575, or visit them online at landmarkgold.com. That's one word, landmarkgold.com. So, David, you're saying that we may not have a pullback on interest rates. When does the new guy go into the Fed and takes the place of Powell?
That's May. If the lawsuits dropped that President Trump has against Jerome Powell for the massive spending on the refurbishment of the Federal Reserve building. So if that drops, then Jerome Powell will leave office and we'll get our new Fed Reserve chairman. But if President Trump doesn't drop that, then according to the Fed guidelines, he can stay on 2 more years. So I don't know. It's kind of that's another mess.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we don't. I'm just being honest. I don't want to see Jerome Powell in there for another 2 years. I do not. I want somebody I think that has a little bit more action to their body than Jerome Powell does. I mean, he doesn't just look old; he acts old.
Kevin Warsh is totally a different person, age-wise, philosophically, and politically. So it would be a breath of fresh air. Some people don't hold the same opinion that you and I have of Jerome Powell, and I respect that. I mean, he did some things that maybe not too many Fed chairmen could have done. I'll give him a little maybe credit. Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit. But when the bottom line is the Fed's been acting way too behind the curve. And so whether the curve is raising rates or lowering rates, they come to the party too late. And that's one of the 3 main reasons why there's just been reversal. Maybe rates might go up is because the Fed is acting not normally like the Fed has been acting. So maybe it's geopolitical, politics, who knows? But Kevin Warsh will be a breath of fresh air, in my opinion.
All right. So remember about the white papers, the golden era that has a silver lining, and then find out everything you need to know about BRICS, the new financial system that could dethrone the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. Call 844-604-2575 to talk to the folks at Landmark Gold, or go to landmarkgold, that's one word.com, and you can get those white papers for free. And then if you're not in gold or silver, I'm just telling you, you got to get into it. if you want to protect your investment. That's just an important thing to do. David Fisher, we'll get with you again next week.
Sounds good, Dave. Thank you.
Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. So that's a great thing that he's worrying you about. All right, 8:30, time for the news. Let's get to it.
And Pakistan's top diplomat says U.S.-Iran indirect talks are taking place as the two countries offer opposing proposals. In a dramatic rescue, San Francisco fire crews saved a woman who had gone over a cliff and was stuck on the rocks with waves crashing below. Oil trading back above $100 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Your beloved dog and a stranger are both drowning. You can only save one. Who do you save? Every time Dennis Prager asks that question, his audience splits three ways. 1/3 chooses the dog, 1/3 chooses the stranger, and 1/3 aren't sure. Why? Because we live in an age where increasingly feelings define right and wrong. But if morality is based on emotion, then murder, rape, and theft are just opinions. And if people feel justified, why is rioting or destruction wrong at all? In his new book, If There Is No God, Dennis Prager explains why civilizations cannot survive without objective morality and why Judeo-Christian values shape the moral foundations of the free world.
If you claim that certain things are good, certain things are evil, independent of how you feel about it, you are in effect affirming God.
If There Is No God by Dennis Prager. Available now at PragerStore.com. That's PragerStore.com. She's unafraid and unapologetic. She's Laura Trump, and she's shaking things up on the Right View podcast.
We're the side with the mean stuff? Are you guys kidding? You call us Nazis. You call us fascists. You call Donald Trump Hitler from the left. Really? We're the side that's the problem. You're out assaulting ICE agents every chance you possibly get.
Subscribe to the Right View podcast with Laura Trump on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it. And it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more. And I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
The Dave Elswick Show is back. 101.1. The Answer.
All right. Back on with you. And you who were watching the stream.
Eating your donut.
They delivered my donut to me. And when Jerry came in, he said, what kind do you want? And I said, let's get a filled donut for a change. I haven't had a filled donut in a long time. And he says, well, what do you want? And I said, if they got blueberry filled, get that. If they don't have that, then get, either white cream or chocolate cream.
Chocolate.
So he brought in blueberry.
I, on the other hand, am being good. But where are they from, Dave?
I don't know. I have to get Jerry in here to tell me where he went and bought them.
What was that you told me about? I don't care.
Yeah, when it comes to donuts, I'm not looking at that.
Yeah,
so
I
much.
said, where are those from? He was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't care.
It's a donut. What can I? It's hard to screw up a donut. The only way you can screw up a donut is if you tell people you got a filled donut and you bite into it and you got like a pinprick of filling in the middle of it somewhere. Yeah, and there's nothing there. If it's got and this has got a decent amount, I'm going to show it to everybody. Might as well show it.
The one, see, y'all were wishing you could watch that stream. Oh my goodness, that looks good. I'm being good though. I'm being good. No donut.
There you go. Look at that.
Stop it.
That's full of blueberries.
Go into the camera. Out.
I love it. No. I love it. I like fat nuts. I really do.
Shipley's has those little the little donut holes.
Yeah.
With the chocolate icing on them. Those are, I can't refuse those. Those are so good.
I think you should have filled donut holes.
Me too. Like a little bite pop in your mouth.
Yeah, that would be
not messy. Not you know how long that would take to fill.
I'd be in that. I'm just telling you, I'd buy the first dozen of them.
They'd need a machine for that though. Otherwise they'd have some
people would have to fight me over
little lady just sitting there filling donut holes all day.
Yeah.
But they would be good. I would totally buy
them.
It
reminds me of a funny story with one of my sons. My sons will tell you it's hard, and my daughters, even my wife, it's hard to tell when I'm being serious and when I'm being just ridiculous. And I had my oldest son believing that the Mars company hired hundreds of thousands of people to paint the M on M&Ms.
Yeah.
And he bought it, man. Hook, line, and sinker.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And I told him, I said, no, it's sprayed on there. I said, think about this. How long do you think it would take them to paint one of those M's on an M&M? And think about how short the period of time would be that the people who are painting them would go mad. It would definitely go mad.
And tiny like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, maybe what Mars Company did is they farmed it out to the Keebler elves. I don't know.
Little mini stamps.
I have no idea. But anyway, bottom line, that's just kind of things that if you were my kid, you got to put up with, and you got to be able to reason. Now my oldest son, I don't think you could pull the wool over his eyes about very many things anymore. He questions everything. His dad had to be questioned about everything as well. All right, so what else is going on with news? Coming up at 9:00, Enrico is going to be with us. Of course, he comes on and talks about the Iran war from the Israeli point of view, and we'll be talking to him about that. And at 10:00, you won't want to miss the first half hour because we're going to have Senator John Bozeman on. And the first thing he's going to talk about is going to be agriculture, because he is the agriculture's chairman in the Senate, and he wields a lot of power as far as farm policy is going. So we'll talk to him about that. Plus, we'll talk to him about Iran and other things. I mean, Iran, I think we're going to all know kind of where we're at tomorrow, because we're running out on the timeline with the president. It will be interesting to see what happens, because the president keeps saying he's having talks, and our people are having talks with the Iranians, and the Iranian media keeps saying we're not having any talks.
Right, that's what I mean.
So
who is he talking to?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I wonder if they read his book.
I don't know.
Oh, we need to go get his book.
Yeah.
Read the book.
I have to see what's going down as far as that.
The art of the deal.
Now, here's something that's happening right now. If you don't believe things are changing in the Middle East, this story should change your mind about it. There's increasingly bold and strategically serious moves by the fellow Muslim nations in the region of Iran, in the Middle East. Greg Webner of Fox News reports the state of Qatar, the state of Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Bahrain, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan have renewed their condemnation in the strongest terms of the blatant Iranian attacks, which constitute a flagrant violation of their sovereignty, territorial integrity, international law, international humanitarian law, and the Charter of the UN, whether carried out directly or through their proxies and armed factions they support in the region. Now that's what these nations said. They all signed this piece of paper that had this on it. These acts are a breach of international laws and conventions and a blatant violation of United Nations Security Council Resolution number 2817, passed earlier in the year, which explicitly demands that Iran immediately and unconditionally cease any attacks or threats against neighboring states, including through the use of their proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and all the rest. Additionally, the nations reaffirmed what they described as their full right to respond to the ongoing attacks under international law, which guarantees the right of states to self-defense, individually and collectively, in the event of aggression, and our right to take all necessary measures to safeguard our sovereignty, security, and stability. I'm going to just tell you right now, that's the first time I've ever heard all the Arab nations speak out against another Arab nation.
Yeah, no, that's history in the making right there.
That's huge. That is very, very big. And maybe it's going to, maybe we should look at that and say tomorrow may be a really good day. Another story that's going on right now is the UAE. They've been a partner with us for some time in helping us. And they are doubling down now on their partnership with us. The Minister of State for the United Arab Emirates was bullish on the partnership with the U.S. in her conversation with Brett Baer on Fox News yesterday. The UAE has fought side by side with the U.S. in over 6 coalitions in our history. We have shared values. We have shared history with the U.S. We have an interoperability with the United States. Now, this is UAE talking. They are a clear partner to us in regional security, and we intend to double down on that. Today, we are looking at a threat to not only our region, but to the international community at large that needs to be stopped in whatever way possible. The UAE is always for a diplomatic off-ramp at the end of that. We need to use diplomacy, but we need to use diplomacy when Iran understands that its behavior as a rogue actor is not acceptable, neither to the region nor to the international community. The UAE has taken a disproportionate number of missile attacks from the Iranian terror regime. Quote, by hitting the UAE, it is seeking to undermine the role it is playing in linking the wider region with outside actors and to cause wider ripple effects in the global economy in terms of trade and investment, in addition to the ongoing efforts to impose costs in the global energy markets. That according to Brian Katulis, senior fellow at the Middle East Institute. And to finish this all up, the Hill reports, since the conflict started, UAE air defenses have engaged with 1,789 drones, 352 ballistic missiles, and 15 cruise missiles. That according to the UAE Minister of Defense, the aerial attacks have led to the deaths of 2 UAE members of the armed forces, along with the deaths of 6 other individuals. More than 161 people have been injured. So the other folks there in the Middle East, Iran's losing. They're out on an island by themselves. And you remember the old song and poem, "No man is an island unto himself," blah, 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 blah. Well, that's where Iran's finding themselves. They have literally ticked off all their friends in that area, and their friends now are turning into their enemies. And for us, as conservatives, we are seeing history in the making right now. In all honesty, if Iran comes to the table and says, "We're done, we're not going to pursue for a nuclear weapon, we're not going to fire any more ballistic missiles at anybody," blah 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 blah, so that the United States and the folks at Israel will stop bombing us from the air, because we got air superiority right now over Iran. Iran doesn't have a military plane up there.
They don't have it.
We own the skies.
I'm surprised they have anything left.
I mean, it's ours. The skies are ours. And the last piece of leverage they got is the Strait of Hormuz. And, there could be a big battle there before it's all said and done. If Iran tries to take on our Marines in that area, that will be a wrong thing to do. I'm just telling you, that will be a wrong thing to do, and they will be in for the beating that they've never, ever have gotten before. So we'll see how it happens. What goes down. I mean, I understand some of you are getting, antsy, and you're saying, this could turn into something a whole lot bigger. Well, I don't think it's going to, just because of these Middle East nations that are speaking out against Iran. I mean, there's some poll numbers that are out now. If you put any trust in poll numbers, I really don't, unless I know exactly what the question was that was asked. But let's look here. It's big story today was that things were falling apart for Trump with the Republicans. I looked at the numbers, and it's BS. It's not happening that way or not. They reported today on Fox over 90% of the Iranian missiles have been intercepted. And Trump has sent another warning to Iran after the regime rejects the ceasefire proposal to end the war. We've put ground forces in the Middle East now to protect the free flow of energy through the Gulf of Hormuz. Israel says the Iranian leader who ordered the Strait of Hormuz closure was killed in a targeted strike overnight. So it's awful interesting what is going down right now. It really, really is. And it's going to be interesting as this plays out tomorrow. Because if the Iranians don't get serious and come to the table, we're going to take out all of their power networks. There'll not be a kilowatt of electricity across that whole nation. That's big. That's big. And if you're part of the regime over there right now, you're thinking to yourself, what other cards do I have to play here in this game of 5-card stud or whatever? And you want the honest answer? You don't have any cards to play with. You don't. Nobody's going to come to your aid because everybody literally hates you now. That's when you make a mistake. I mean, Hitler made this same mistake, all right? He was kicking butt and chewing gum. as he was taking over Europe. But he wasn't happy with that. What did he do? He opened up another front. He went to the west and went after Russia. Big mistake. Huge mistake for Germany. And that whole push in Russia ended at Stalingrad. And then at that point, everything unraveled for the Third Reich. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking to see if I can find that story on the on how people are feeling about the war in Iran. Don't have anything yet. That's the way it is. All right. So anyway, if I find that story, I'll bring it to you. We got to get a break in though. It's 8:51 here on the Dave Elswick Show. That translates to 9 minutes till the top of the hour. In the next hour, Enrico Ravenna is going to be on with us. He's our Israeli specialist. He'll join us on the air, and we'll talk about Israel and Iran when we come back at the 9 o'clock hour after the news. But we got a little segment that we still got to do to get us to the news, and that'll come up right after these.
Whether retirement's just around the corner or already here, it's common to be overwhelmed. That's where Total Wealth with David Lucas can help. Utilizing their signature Thrive planning process, they'll work together with you to identify and resolve your concerns, allowing you to fully pursue your passions and enjoy life. Because a successful retirement isn't just how much you save, it's the quality of life you live. Schedule a free evaluation now at TotalWealth.com. While you're at the website, download the free guide to Social Security. It'll help answer a lot of your questions. Go to TotalWealth.com or call 501-382-8800. 501-382-8800. One more time, go to TotalWealth.com or call 501-382-8800. That's 501-382-8800. 501-382-8800. Go to TotalWealth.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Lucas Total Wealth, an Arkansas registered investment advisor. Arkansas Insurance License number 161527443.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, Google Salem Surround Little Rock today. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Christian Faith Publishing helps thousands of authors just like you publish their books with a company dedicated to strong Christian values. And to help you get started, we want to send you our free writer's guide, packed with tips, tricks, and templates for authors. Christian Faith Publishing reviews every book submitted to us. And if your book is approved, we'll edit, design, print, promote, and distribute your book online and in stores everywhere. Imagine seeing your book in specialty Christian bookstores, Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, and many others. It all starts with a completed manuscript and one call to Christian Faith Publishing at 888-521-4447. If you have a novel, children's book, poetry, biography, or any inspirational work you've written, we can help you get it published today. Shouldn't you work with a publisher who shares your Christian values of integrity and honesty? You can get your book published. Get your free writer's guide today. Call 888-521-4447. That's 888-521-4447. 888-521-4447.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Concerned about market risk? I'm Ferenc Toth, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. The S&P 500 valuations are higher than at any time ever recorded in stock market history. This includes 1929 and 1999. Annuities and Your Personal Bank offer unlimited upside with no downside risk. Tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. or contact Ferenc at yourpersonalbank.com. The Your Personal Bank Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. on 101.1 The Answer.
The conservative voice of Arkansas, The Dave Elswick Show on 101.1 The Answer.
All right, back. Let's finish up. We've got about 3 minutes here before we go to the news. Enrico is here early. That's the guy that's sitting right next to me. He may be taking the title of the McDreamy Award on the Dave Elswick Show. I'm just saying. Ladies have been sending me.
You're married though, aren't you?
Yeah, he's married, but they've been sending me emails.
Have they really?
That doesn't change for a lot of women, man. Let me tell you, being married
That's a thirsty
can be
one,
a big time magnet for some women. But anyway, bottom line, we had our doctor that used to come on, and
he's texting his wife now.
Don't
Don't listen to him. Don't listen
Don't
to
listen
him.
to the show. Don't listen to him. You're not getting any pictures or anything, are you?
I need to check.
I'm just saying.
Watch out for those DMs.
All right, I'm gonna let Enrico talk here for the last 2 minutes of this hour, because we were just talking about where Iran is. Tomorrow is deadline, and the two guys that are doing the talking with our people, they gave them till Friday that will take you off the kill list, basically.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, as of a certain time tomorrow, they go back on it again. So they have some real reasons to figure out how they bring this to an end. Do you think that there's enough right-thinking Iranians still in the regime that they won't take this? They won't go to the mats, as we would say, with the mafia, like we're going to a war. I don't think they want to push it that far, all the way to the floor, because today those 6 big Middle East countries came out and basically told them to stand down.
Mm-hmm. I think what we're seeing right now is extremely interesting, because you have the Iranian officials, regime officials, pushing as much as they can, right?
Yeah.
I mean, their list of demands is kind of silly, if you're asking me. Crazy, yeah. But also you have Trump on the other hand, and I will give it to him. He made a very, very good move on anchoring and establishing a very clear walkaway point. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Iranian regime officials respond to that tomorrow. That combined with the Middle Eastern countries that are pushing back on them now, there's a lot to uncover here. A lot to uncover.
We'll talk about it. All right. We'll be back after the break and after the news, and we'll talk about the Iranian situation. We got Enrico for the next hour, so stick around here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Freedom has a frequency, and it's 101.1. The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. KDXE, Kamek Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. The International Olympic Committee has announced that transgender women athletes are excluded from the Olympics. The IOC said eligibility for any female category event is now limited to biological females. The new policy aligns with President Trump's executive order on women's sports ahead of the 2028 games in Los Angeles. The budget dispute over Homeland Security funding is causing long lines for air travelers, but even more pain for TSA officers who haven't received a paycheck for weeks. TSA union head Everett Kelly says workers can't live on promises.
We've been hearing about progress and optimism for weeks. Our members cannot eat optimism. They cannot pay rent with progress. They need a paycheck.
Pakistan says indirect talks between Iran and the United States are taking place. Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson was asked whether sending more troops to the Mideast signals the U.S. is escalating the Iran war.
The buildup of troops is very different than boots on the ground. We don't have boots on the ground. I don't think that's the intention, but I think Iran should watch that buildup, and they need to take note of that.
Correspondent Bernie Bennett reports that the war with Iran isn't too popular with most Americans.
As the war launched by the U.S. and Israel continues in its fourth week, a survey from the Associated Press Newark Center for Public Affairs Research indicates that while President Donald Trump's approval rating is holding steady, the conflict could be swiftly turning into a major political liability for his Republican administration. While the president is deploying more warships and troops to the Middle East, about 59% of Americans say U.S. military action in Iran has been excessive. Meanwhile, 45% are extremely or very concerned about being able to afford gas in the next few months. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Oil prices are up. More at townhall.com.
Hi, Mike Gallagher here, host of the Mike Gallagher Show. As we head into spring, there's some good news in the housing market. Rates have recently dropped. When rates drop, payments can drop. That can mean hundreds of dollars a month back in your pocket, money you can use to pay bills, reduce debt, or strengthen your financial position. That's why this is the time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. They're helping homeowners refinance into lower rates and reduce their monthly mortgage payments. Fellowship also offers a fixed rate line of credit for home projects or consolidating a high interest debt with fast approval and a predictable rate. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. That's 2 months of breathing room while you reposition financially. I've used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Before you make your next move, go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, equal housing lender, NMLS number 819382.
Correspondent Keith Peters reports on a defeat for a giant media platform.
A New Mexico jury finds that social media conglomerate Meta is harmful to children's mental health and in violation of state consumer protection law. The jury announced its verdict Tuesday after nearly 7 weeks of trial. State prosecutors had accused Meta of placing profits over safety in violation of the state's Unfair Practices Act. Prosecutors also said the company failed to adequately monitor the platforms for child sexual exploitation. Attorneys for Meta had said the company discloses risks and makes efforts to weed out harmful content and experiences, while acknowledging that some bad material gets through its safety net. Keith Peters reporting.
Tragedy in Bangladesh where a bus carrying about 50 people plunged into a river. Authorities say it killed at least 18 people. News and analysis at townhall.com. A top American sports league has taken the next steps to look into adding a pair of franchises.
The NBA is now officially looking at expansion, with Seattle and Las Vegas the 2 targeted cities. A vote Wednesday by the league's Board of Governors, part of a 2-day series of meetings in New York, cleared the way for formal talks between potential ownership groups in those 2 cities and NBA officials to take place, a process that likely will start before too long. Commissioner Adam Silver wants the league to know by the end of 2026 if expansion will happen. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
The new baseball season opened last night with the San Francisco Giants hosting the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge went hitless on opening day for the first time, but the Yankees had no problem winning, beating the Giants 7-0. There are 11 more opening day Major League Baseball games coming up today. This is SRN News.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial.
And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
All right, 9 o'clock hour. Oh, the first 2 hours went fast. I know this hour is going to go fast because we're going to talk about Iran right now. And Enrico Ravina is with us, and Enrico comes in basically whenever I ask him to take on the look at what's going in the Middle East. Can I talk to you about you're how old? Are you in your 30s?
Mid-30s. Yeah.
Okay, mid-30s. I'm in my early 70s. All right. And I can tell you right now that what Trump is doing has been necessary since the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But no American president had the cojones to do it because they were afraid they'd be looking at what they're looking at right now with Iran still, flipping us the bird and say, go ahead, do it, kind of thing. I don't know. I guess that the regime over there wants to have, death by cop, so to speak. But they're in a no negotiating place. I mean, what do they got to negotiate with now? Zip. We can take care of the Straits of Hormuz if necessary.
Right.
We can take care of it. And because now European countries are starting to come around and say they'll work with us to keep the Straits of Hormuz open. There's 6 Arab nations that are telling Iran, we won't back you on any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are literally somebody that is out on an island and has nowhere to turn. If you want to talk to somebody, talk to a mirror, because that's the only people that are going to talk back at you.
Mm-hmm. And yet their list of demands is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We were talking about they want guarantees that the U.S. and Israel won't attack them again. Hey, here's a guarantee for you. Just don't do what you're doing, right? Stop doing what you're doing.
Don't try to develop a nuclear weapon and quit firing ballistic missiles into other countries' backyard.
Right. And it just shows how restrained the West is when it comes to attacking, right? Like we were talking about how this is well overdue, right? Since the late 70s. Look at how long it's taken the West to really realize, and strong leadership too, not just the West as people, but also just really, really strong leadership that understands that the alternative is much worse, right? To anyone who tells me against what's going on with the war on Iran right now, I say, well, what's the alternative? Are you okay with the alternative?
Are you all right with Iran and what they're doing over in the Middle East all the time?
And on U.S. soil? Are you okay with their influence on our college campuses? Are you okay with their influence on our culture? Are you okay with their influence on the West? Because you still need allies. And even though they're not necessarily influencing you, they're influencing Europe. They're influencing a lot of other countries, right? All of their terrorist proxies. Look at what's happening with Hezbollah now in Lebanon, right? So at the end of the day, the fact that, let's assume for a second that they're not attacking you, but they're creating this, I want to call it like almost like a proxy coalition around the world and influence, such as to when you do wake up and realize that this is a fight that you have to fight, it's going to be too late. Right? Like, what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for them to become more powerful, to become more influential? I think this is the time.
You want them to rebuild?
Right, exactly. Like, again, there's this funny thing about psychology of influence, or like behavioral psychologists that say you can always flip the script on someone, right? And when people ask me a question, I can always flip that back to them and say, well, what's your alternative, right? Run me through your logic. run me through, like, what do you see happening, right? Because I've been on college campuses, and our situation is dire. I mean, it's not looking great. Look, I mean, we have college students now protesting this war with Iran, and they don't even have the closest idea how just ridiculous that is, right?
Well, we're killing bad people, all right? That's what the military's there for,
right?
Is to kill bad people, and we do what we're supposed to do. And some of these young people go, should do that. You would have been the appeasers of Adolf Hitler. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm working with an organization that does something cool. What they're doing is they're going around college campuses and setting up this like living room, like Middle Eastern living room conversation, where they bring a survivor of the Iranian regime, right? Like a woman that actually was attacked and raped and all that by the Iranian regime, and she was able to escape, and she's now in the U.S. And they're sitting her together with an Israeli woman, right? And anyone on camp, and it looks really nice with like rugs and carpets and like outside. It looks Middle Eastern, right? Like you're sitting in almost like a Middle Eastern living room. And
do they have a guy with a turban with a long flute,
like a flute
in front of the snake basket? I'm just saying.
Well, they definitely bring food, right? Like majhul dates and baklawas, and basically really, really inviting, right? To get students to come and ask questions and check it out. And then you see these students that are asking like, oh, you're Iranian, right? Like, and you fled Iran. And what do you think about the situation that's going on? It's terrible, right? And she's like, no, it's great, right? So they get to hear, from an Iranian that actually survived and fled the regime, sitting together, breaking bread with an Israeli,
right,
loving each other and saying like, no, we're in this together. And we both understand the value long-term for society of the U.S. and Israel taking out the bad guys.
You know what happens when they do that? They got to pipe in the music of war, and why can't we be friends?
Rodney King said it best.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Why can't we just be friends? And that is an incredible organization that we're going to do at the University of Arkansas.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's going to be so incredibly valuable. We also had an organization come to University of Arkansas that does virtual reality and basically lets students experience October 7th, the October 7th attacks from like a virtual reality thing. And you should see their faces when they take off those VR glasses. They're shocked, right? Because a lot of that footage, by the way, is
shot by the terrorists.
By the terrorists, yes.
Right.
The terrorists themselves who filmed it and were so proud at all the atrocities and the massacres that they did on October 7th. We don't talk about October 7th that much anymore, but Israelis haven't forgotten.
Well, you can't
forget what Hamas did. We don't talk about Gaza right now, but they're still active. They're still technically in control of the Gaza Strip, right? You have Hezbollah up in Lebanon, so the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, are now basically taking control all the way south of the Litani River, which should have been under
that should have already happened,
right?
Because it was a negotiated deal years ago, which Hezbollah broke pretty much immediately in the 90s.
In the 90s, they broke it, and even then, Israel was like, "Okay, fine, it's fine. Just don't attack us, and it will all be okay." Right?
Yeah.
Again, the level of restraint and peacefulness that the West has shown terrorism is unreasonable at this point. Like, the terrorists do not deserve this much empathy from us.
I agree.
They do not deserve it. Look, when people ask me, about when people try to educate me on who my enemy is, I tell them, guys, I look my enemy in the eyes.
Yeah, every day.
I was there. Again, I'm a first Intifada baby, second Intifada teenager. Grew up in the south of Israel. You will not teach me on who my enemy is. And now more than ever, we need unity. Now more than ever, we need to focus on the things that we do agree on and the things that we do have in common. Because let me tell you this, the terrorists, they rely on us being divided.
Enrico, can I ask you a question about how do you feel? Okay, so what is the sentiment, I guess you would say, in the Jewish community here in the United States regarding last Friday when, I mean, I'm not saying that everyone who practices Islam is a radical Muslim. I'm saying, how do you feel about them calling prayer at War Memorial and then also on the site of the 9/11? That one blew me away right there. I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it.
So that's a great question. I will say I'll separate my response into two parts. So there's, because I'm Israeli too, I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli, and I'm an American.
Yeah.
To me, my approach is very different when I talk to an Israeli American and to a Jewish American, right? Obviously, we're all Jewish and we share a lot in common and we're all Americans. So the two things we have in common are that we're Jewish and that we're Americans and all the, everything in between there. But because of how we grow up in Israel, we're very different, right? We're different in how we operate. We're different in how we think. Now, that does, of course, I'm way over generalizing here, right? Like it's a brutal over generalization, but Jewish Americans tend to have a lot more of a, and I'm going to use this very carefully, I'm going to use this term carefully, but they're a little bit more naive because they've never actually seen, felt the weight of terrorism, what it means to have to fight for your survival all the time. If you grew up in the US, you're privileged. Like that's just the bottom line. And this is also,
you won the lottery.
You won the lottery. And look, when I said it before and I'll say it again, the day I became an American citizen was the most emotional day in my life. I was so proud of it, Dave. I felt like I earned it, right? It took me about 6.5 years to become a US citizen. I had to pass the tests. The USCIS, the immigration officer, asked me if I'd be willing to join the draft to serve.
Right.
I looked at him and I laughed, Dave. You know why I laughed? I said, I told him, no, and I told him, if America needs me, I will race you and beat you to the bus.
Right.
If America calls on me to serve, I will race you to that bus and I will beat you. I will win that race. I'll be that first guy on that bus if America needs me, because I understand how incredible. This is not just the lottery, Dave. This is the, what do you call the mega millions. This is like, being,
this is a whole ball of wax.
Exactly, the whole ball. That's exactly what it is. And when people overly criticize and overly judge, it just shows me that they don't understand what the alternative is, right? You really did win the lottery if you were born in this country.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that come to me say, when they express this level of criticism, I say, look, you have the privilege to think this way, right? And I'm happy that a lot of people are willing to fight so you will still be able to think this way.
And you can say it out in public.
Right.
You do that over in Iran.
Get shot.
Yeah, you will be hanged, shot. Yeah, you'll be hanged,
like
shot.
Like the wrestler just did recently.
Exactly. So, but the way I see it, I don't have that privilege. I don't think this way. I value and cherish everything I have here, right? Early on, in the early days, when people asked me if I like America, I said, well, I think that's an obvious. That's not the right question, though. I appreciate America and I value America. Liking it is it goes without saying. But it's much deeper than that. So to go back to your question, though, Jewish Americans, and again, I apologize to all the Jewish Americans that are not this way, and you
have to experience it to understand.
Right, and please assume positive intent here. If you're listening to this, they tend to have that privilege and be a little bit more naive than Israeli Americans. Israeli Americans are a completely different point of view at this point. They get it.
They've been there.
They've been there. They're like, no, listen, buddy, we get it. Like we were there. In fact, I don't know if you noticed, but every time something like this happens, a war with Iran, an operation in Gaza, so many Israelis that live outside of Israel get on planes to go back to Israel.
Yeah.
to a war zone. Like how absurd, like how,
protect what's yours.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I get it.
So many Israelis are looking to get back to Israel on the first flight out. They're like, I'm going to go back.
And that's what I respect about, because here's the thing, you have so many other nationalities that come over here. They're escaping. They're not trying to fix it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, you're running from your own country. What are you going to do when it's time for us to fight someone and we need you to do that?
Exactly.
You're going to run somewhere else? Like, what's, like,
what I
so
tell
I
people,
that.
what I tell people is always be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Right.
Problem makers are never going to get anywhere if they're not going to also provide the solution. By the way, this is true with everything we do, right? If someone gives me pushback or resistance to anything I want to do, right, even in my position as the executive director of the Jewish Federation of the state of Arkansas, right, then I always say, then, okay, what's your solution? Because I know you didn't just come here to complain.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So, again, when we see that, Val, it's a warning sign for us.
Like a slap in the face?
It is. Because for us,
I mean, that's what I would feel like.
We understand what happens when you allow for the slow overtaking of your values. And a lot of people like to use the word, oh, it's a slippery slope. Well, this is also a slippery slope, right?
Yeah.
It's double meaning here, right? You can apply that term to anything.
Do you think that they're using the American freedom of religion to
undermine America? Yes.
Like I've long thought that that's what they're doing. They're using it against us, and also to bring the war here on our soil, because there are so many Jewish immigrants here. I feel like that they're bringing it here and slowly eroding, and having people like the Democratic Secretary of State for Arkansas, the candidate, go there and put a voting booth out and say, well, these people are so nice. And of course they're nice. Where you wouldn't go and be around them if you knew their other plans. I'm not saying they're all bad. I literally bought Girl Scout cookies from some Muslim girls the other day that came to my door. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it just tends to be.
Look, I mean, I will say.
Why are you flooding our country if not? Like.
Okay, let me take a break. Okay, we got to get a break in. We got news at the bottom of the hour. We got Enrico here in the studio. I'm Dave Elswick. Stick around. Interesting discussion going on right now here at the Dave Elswick Show on The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Right here in our backyard, sellers trust Purple Wave Auction to move their equipment, from excavators and ag equipment to trucks and specialty trailers. Our no-reserve online auctions help local sellers turn iron into opportunity. You get a dedicated territory manager who knows your operation, your market, and your timeline, backed by nationwide buyer demand. Local service, national reach, real results. See why more sellers choose Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com to get started today.
Did you hear Congressman Bruce Westerman on the Dave Elswick Show?
Oil, if it finds its way into the market, so if there's not enough supply, the price is going to go up, because those countries that are buying it from Iran right now, it's actually several countries in that area that are producing oil that goes through the Straits. If that's off the market, then they just start bidding up the price on the global market. So it's hard to. We talk about electricity and water that flows to where there's a demand for it. That's how oil does in the market. So it's just, if there's not enough supply, you're going to see prices rise. and it's hard to just flip on a switch and create more supply. So by the same token, when the supply is there, the demand's going to balance out and the prices are going to go down. So as quickly as the prices went up, I think the prices will go down when you get the straits open.
Don't miss Congressman Westerman, Wednesday mornings at 7:30 on The Dave Elswick Show, 101.1. The Answer. The Dave Elswick Show continues now, 101.1. The Answer.
All right, back with you here on the Dave Elswick Show. Let's go back to where we were in the discussions, 9:25 here on a Thursday. And Val was asking Enrico how he feels about when he sees this whole, Muslim thing that was going on out at War Memorial Stadium last weekend, and it was the end of Ramadan and all of that, and they were playing the call to prayer and all that. How does that make you feel?
So, growing up in Israel, the Muslim call to prayer, the imams, you hear it all over the place, right? Because again, in Israel, it's just all intertwined. We live with each other, right? Well, at least we try. But if you live in Jaffa, which is basically Tel Aviv, right? You hear the call to prayer, right? But it's very much a part of the lay of the land, the landscape. You grow up with it. And like you said, Val, obviously, we all know the vast majority of Muslims around the world are just they're people, just like us. They want to put food on their tables. They want to feed their children. They want to get education. They want to just have a good life. I have Palestinian friends that every time I'm in Israel, I go and we smoke cigars and we break bread and I ask about their families and we touch base and
That's
I
awesome.
check in with them and I say, hey, say, ya Hui in Arabic is, my brother. Like I call them my brothers, right? Because I care about them and they mean a lot to me. Israelis, when you think about Israelis, we want the Palestinians to do extremely well. We want them to succeed. We want them to build their infrastructure and education and culture and economy and all those things. So
and let you just be.
And let us just be, right? Like
Yes.
let us just be. It might just work out really well for all of us because we'll just work together, right? So when I hear the call to prayer, when I hear those things in America, it hits different though. It hits different.
Okay.
Because you don't see Jewish people, for example, pray out in the street, especially not on significant days, right? Especially not on.
I would think for someone like you might get PTSD, like hearing that, like be like, okay, what's going on here?
It's
because I can hear that. I used to live over behind on Jackson, and you could hear all the games, it was loud, all hours of the night. So I know people over there heard it, like
right
on the, like.
Unfortunately, Israelis know way too well the methodologies and the tactics of radicals. We understand how that works. Those types of call to prayers done publicly is sending a message.
Especially around the heights.
Especially around the heights. It is sending a message. It's a statement, right?
I think it's also like, in your face.
Right. It's in your face. It's blatantly just out in the open. And again, not that I have any problems with their types of prayer or how they do it. It's just when you do it in that way, it tends to rub people the wrong way.
Like, why do they need to do it at the college, like at the
Right. And even without going to too much detail on that, when you look at what happens when vast Muslim populations go anywhere, they tend to take control. They tend to change the landscape, the culture of a place, and that's just what happens.
All right, need you to keep your thoughts. We'll pick them up when we come back. Time for the news. We'll have a news break, and then we'll get back with talking with Enrico some more here on the Dave Elswick Show. But right now, it's the news, and it's coming up right now.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. A big change coming to the Olympics. Transgender women athletes are banned. The International Olympic Committee announced today that eligibility for any female category event is now limited to biological females. Israel says it killed the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's Navy in an overnight military strike. And Pakistan's top diplomat says U.S.-Iran indirect talks are taking place as the two countries offer opposing proposals. Tragedy in Bangladesh where a bus carrying about 50 people plunged into a river, killing at least 18. It happened while the bus was boarding a ferry. Oil is trading above $100 a barrel again today. That sent global stocks lower. In the early going on Wall Street, the Dow is up a fraction while the Nasdaq is down more than 0.5%. This is SRN News.
I'm Mike Gallagher here, host of the Mike Gallagher Show. As we head into spring, there's some good news in the housing market. Rates have recently dropped. When rates drop, payments can drop. That can mean hundreds of dollars a month back in your pocket, money you can use to pay bills, reduce debt, or strengthen your financial position. That's why this is the time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. They're helping homeowners refinance into lower rates and reduce their monthly mortgage payments. Fellowship also offers a fixed rate line of credit for home projects or consolidating a high interest debt with fast approval and a predictable rate. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. That's 2 months of breathing room while you reposition financially. I've used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Before you make your next move, go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Don't miss out on the latest news. Operation Epic Fury is here, and we're giving you the inside information. Make sure you're listening for all the details on Operation Epic Fury, right here on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
Oh yeah, I'm much better now. Most of the physical effects are gone. They said it was a bad case of the heebie-jeebies. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. But thanks to the bug man, no more heebie-jeebies. I can even put stuff on the countertops again. I just wish I'd called sooner.
Call the Bugman for your own happy home at 663-9464 or go to bugman.com. The Bugman has been in business since 1976. Your satisfaction is their only contract.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcased a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council. We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. It was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age. Everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
101.1 The Answer. Weather.
Another nice day in store for us today. Lots of sunshine and a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. High of 86, down to 64 tonight. A slight chance of rain tomorrow and otherwise cloudy. High of 77.
You can watch the show right now. The Dave Elswick Show is streaming live on Facebook. This is 101.1 The Answer.
All right, we're continuing on. About 25 minutes till 10. At 10 o'clock, after the news, Senator John Bozeman will join us. We're going to talk to him about ag. He'll bring us up to date on what the ag committee is doing. And he'll talk about Iran. We'll talk to him about that and any other subject that, we think that we get into. I mean, I promise not to mention baseball, okay? I promise that I won't mention it, although baseball season is getting ready to start. I got my MLB.com membership up yesterday, so I'm all excited. I really am. I love baseball. Baseball is part of me being an American, to be honest with you. Our guest is Enrico Ravenna, and he is with us here. And that's right?
Yeah,
That's
my last name. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna
Apparently,
make
we're going to
sure.
start calling you Rico Suave.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's true.
Dave, have you ever
women
Googled me,
like
by the
you.
way?
What?
Have you ever Googled me?
I haven't. No. I
You
should?
probably should.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Because it would make so much more sense to you, the whole, Enrico Suave, Fabio type thing. You know what?
Are you posing?
model underwear?
Are
No.
you saying you're posing on your Facebook with your shirt off?
I used to do in a previous life. I did used to model.
Oh, really?
And I am on a lot of book covers on
That's
romance
interesting.
novels.
Oh my God!
Yes.
You mean like Anne Rice?
He's saying no.
Or no, that'd be vampires. Never mind.
He was doing. He
Like,
was doing the. He was Fabio. He did Fabio.
all those
book covers.
women books. like-
Yes, it would make a lot more sense
Oh,
to you
that's
once you
funny.
go.
How do you get into something like that?
That's wild. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's awesome,
dude.
though.
That's crazy. Anyway, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, I've had women already asked, is he single? And I go, he is happily married.
Happily married.
He's a happily married man. So leave him alone. Because sometimes that's like throwing a gauntlet down
Isn't it though? That's
to
crazy.
some women. It's like, I'll see. I bet I can make him cheat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's just
that's it.
stupid.
That's
Like
it.
that's horrible.
I understand
Because
that, but
guess
I'm
what?
just saying that's how some women are.
And most of the time, that's all they want to do is the challenge.
Yeah. Oh,
You got to show it. Put it to the camera.
Hold it here.
Put it to the camera.
You got to see this. This
Okay,
is unbelievable.
turn it around. Let's see. I got to zoom in. Hold up. Uh-oh.
So this book is called Timeless, and actually, my character is the
Oh, that's
lead,
awesome.
the lead guitarist in a band called Less Than Zero.
Oh,
And
Lord have mercy.
and the author became a really, really good friend of mine. I did a few more covers
I'll
for
hold it
her.
this way. There we go.
That's awesome.
That's just one of the books I'm on. I'm probably on close to 30 books.
Good God.
Wow.
That's why I
Good.
asked you.
Are those your real amps?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's me.
No airbrushing there, huh?
Yeah.
You're just about your mouth to
gonna
make
have
his life worse,
I'm gonna
Dave.
have a man crush. I gotta.
See, these are more.
Amazing. Okay.
So that's why I asked you if
I
you Google.
swear to my listeners, I knew nothing about this.
Oh, I didn't either. I was kidding with the suave part, but
Well, he's
okay.
like he's McDreamy. He's our new McDreamy right here on the Dave Elswick show.
I will be your McDreamy.
You could see
I
his
will be your
blushing under
McDreamy.
All right. So let's get back to the issue at hand. We're talking about what's going on in Iran. We're going to deploy Marines, it looks like, to Kog Island.
Yeah.
That is not Iranian territory, is it?
Right, it's not. It's,
Okay.
Right.
So they're over there, they're unloading oil there and whatever. We're going to stop them from doing that.
Mhm.
Well, we've already stopped them. I mean, we destroyed almost every structure
Right.
that's on the island. And the only thing that was still in good working condition were the pipeline.
Right. I mean, including about what, like 6 warehouses earlier this morning, something
Yeah.
like that, in a few strikes. Yeah, I mean, it's the Iranian crown jewel, right? I mean, when you're thinking about 90% of their oil reserves and all that, it is. They don't want you to have anything to do with that island, right? Which is exactly why we're going to have everything to do with that island.
Absolutely.
When you think about strategically, militarily, what that island means to the regime, you have to send people out there. Now, we were talking about how some people think it's not that many Marines, right? Well, anyone who says that, I think, just doesn't know what Marines are capable of.
That's right. To the tip of the spear, always.
One of my best friends, he was a captain in the Marine Corps. Actually, funny story, Dave. I met him on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I did a lot of acting and modeling. So I met him. He's a film producer now. So I met him on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy. Marine guy. Anyone who says anything like that about Marine, I said, you just don't know what Marines are capable of.
Yeah, that's true.
one Marine can do quite the damage. So when you look at that island and what it means, right, to take control over that island, especially if you have allies that are coming in and saying we'll help with the Strait of Hormuz, right? It's game over. Like you said in the beginning of the hour, right? Like they have no bargaining tools. They have no negotiation power, which again only goes to show how peaceful we are trying to be, right? Because why would Trump even want to go for a deal? Why would Trump and Netanyahu even say, let's make a deal? Let's not make a deal, right? No, now you want to make a deal with me when I'm winning? But here's the thing, they don't really want to make a deal. Look at their list of demands. They're unrealistic. Now, Trump and Netanyahu are doing these days, this war is going to be written in the history books as one of the most strategic collaborations in history. Because on one hand, you have Trump that is saying, let's go to the negotiation table, right? Now, with a very clear message, I have my anchoring point, like he's anchoring his demands fairly high, but also he has his walkaway point. He's saying to the Iranians, you will not have nuclear weapons.
Yep.
Period. You will not have them. Correct. There is not a single deal to be had where you still have or are going to be able to put your hands on nuclear weapons. And you're going to disperse and be much nicer to your own citizens. And you're not going to influence Western culture, and you're not going to operate proxy terrorist groups around the world, and you're not going to operate terrorist cells around the world, and all of that. So that's one. And on the other hand, you have Netanyahu over there increasing strikes over Iran, taking control and destroying strategic outposts, weapons armories, taken down just this morning, right? Naval commanders.
Right.
All those things are happening at the same time, while also you have Middle Eastern countries that are now saying to Iran, we won't back you, right, if you keep doing this. So really, what's the power of the negotiation here? I would argue that it's to express the values that Western culture stands on, right? That even though we are winning, and we're winning significantly. It's a solid win, right? Like there's not even a single question here. No doubt we are winning. We're still willing to come to the negotiation table. We're still willing to stop the violence. We're still willing to do that because that's who we are. And, it goes back to what Val was saying earlier. Yes, the vast majority of Muslims are great people. The problem is when you have how many billions of Muslims in the world, even the smallest percentage of them means hundreds of millions, right, of radicals. So just like we're doing with the Jewish community, right, one of our strongest or our biggest visions for 2027 is strengthening our unity and cohesiveness under one direction. And I think I told you back in the first Zionist Congress in Basel, really those organizations were formed to do two things: lead Jewish people outside of Israel, but also govern them, right? And a lot of Jewish leaders are saying, I think we forgot about the governing aspect of it, right? We need to also be able to communicate as one and not as two, because radicals count on us being divided. So I will call on everyone, all of our allies, not just Jewish, non-Jewish, Christian, all of our allies, step up. Let's do more together. Let's show a united front. This is not the time to air any dirty laundry. This is not the time to think of the things that divide us. This is not the time to focus on negative things and things that we need to do better on, right? This is the time to say, what makes us the same? Where do we agree? What do we agree on? What is the direction that we know we need to go on as an overall American community? And that's what we're going to do. I know way too many Jewish people that even overly criticize Israeli policies in the state of Israel, right? And I ask them, look, I might even agree with you, but do you really think this is the time to say this? Do you really think this is the time to not like illegitimately and overly criticize the state of Israel? Like nobody's saying here, I'm not going to, as an Israeli, not going to sit here and tell you that Israel is all sunshine and rainbows, right? No country is. What country is perfect? But it's constantly trying to do the right thing. And you can't blame one government or one parliament or one term or one way of thinking on an entire country, right? Like you can't say, because I don't, let's just say you don't like Netanyahu. Let's say you don't like what the Israeli government is doing right now. You can't just paint an entire picture about Israel based on one term.
All right. So let me read this to you. This is from Fox News. Greg Webner wrote the story. It says, the state of Qatar, the state of Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Bahrain, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan renew their condemnation in the strongest terms of the blatant Iranian attacks, which constitute a flagrant violation of their sovereignty, territorial integrity, international law, international humanitarian law, and the Charter of the United Nations, whether carried out directly or through their proxies and armed factions they support in the nation. These acts are a breach of international laws and conventions and a blatant violation of United Nations Security Council Resolution number 2817, which explicitly demands that Iran immediately and unconditionally cease any attacks or threats against neighboring states, including through the use of proxies. That's what the statement read that was given to the Iranian officials today. That sounds like to me you're standing on your own island by yourself.
Right. You're isolated. You're operating in a silo, right? So now all Netanyahu and Trump have to do is just be patient, because it will end. Look, I mean, an operation, a war of this size will not happen for too long, right?
It has to fizzle out somewhere.
Right. This is not, Iraq. This is not Afghanistan. This is not like this has to end, and it's going to end. I mean, I think the White House in the beginning of this, back in February 28th, I think they said about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so we're still within that window.
It's been 4 weeks.
Right. What's today? 26?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it hasn't even been a month yet, right? Yeah. So we're still within that window. And look, again, if we go above that window, if we go over it a little bit, that's okay, because there's always a bigger picture, right? And this is what, a lot of Americans, I think, and even people around the world, they I guess like is not the right term, but they tend to lose sight of the forest for the trees. That's a saying, right? Like that's something to say.
Yeah.
Because they focus too much on the small details rather than the entire picture. War is messy. Peace is messy. There's a saying, it sounds better in Hebrew, but it says peace is very violent.
That's true.
Peace is very violent. Anyone who thinks that peace just happens, because, I don't know, some leprechaun under the rainbow came with a
pot of coal.
A pot of coal. Yeah. No. Peace happens because good people are willing to fight for it. That's just the reality of it. And we all know it, right? Val, you know it. Dave, you know it better than most people, right? Thanks to your service and thanks to everything you did for this country and our people.
There's some things you'll lay your life down for.
Exactly. And peace in that sense is very violent. And humanity has shown us that. Look, I can sit here and tell you, I wish humanity would do better. And I wish that, we didn't have to resort to these, because I'm a very peaceful person, right? I'm a very, very peaceful person. I'm against violence. I always prefer peace, friendships, togetherness. However, I'm also what we call in Israel, I'm a happy warrior. I prefer peace, and I don't want to be at war. But if I find myself at war, if I find myself under attack, I have no problem being there.
Yeah.
I feel you there.
Yeah. So again, there's a saying that goes, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm probably butchering it, but not being able to inflict harm and being peaceful is not peaceful. That's just weakness. You're just weak. You're not peaceful. But being able to inflict harm, being able to do damage and to assert violence, and choosing peace is being peaceful. You can only be peaceful if you're choosing to be peaceful, not if you have to be peaceful, right? Again, I think I butchered that completely, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, when you're provoked, you will do what's necessary.
You got to do what's necessary.
And if you're weak and you can't do anything about it, that doesn't make you peaceful.
Right.
Always remember, the military is there when you need them to go somewhere and break things.
That's one way to put
the
it.
military does not, have all this money spent on it to be a force for good.
It's not
I'm
Greenpeace.
just telling you that I used to drive me crazy when the Navy had that as their motto. So the United States Navy, a force for good. Well, add on to that, yeah, we'll kill your butt if you try to do something non-peaceful to us. I mean, that's the bottom line on it.
I would add the word for the greater good.
Yeah.
That's what I would add. I would just add one word, because sometimes we have to do things we don't like to do.
Well, breaking things is the role of the military. I never deluded myself to think that, what I do is I go where American troops are and play music on Armed Forces radio. Right. No, I had my marksmanship medal and the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
Yeah. If you want to play games and games that you shoot at each other, I'm your huckleberry.
Right.
Okay. I'm your pallbearer. That's what I am. All right. Let's take a break. We'll be back. Finish it up with Enrico. I'm happy to say that he's going to join us each Thursday now here on the Dave Elswick Show, unless he's out of town. That's great. I'm looking forward to this. All right. Let's take a break. Final break, and then we'll be back. Don't forget, coming up 10:05, Senator John Bozeman here on the Dave Elswick Show.
This is 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Start your morning with a voice you know and trust. Dave Elswick, bringing you the issues that matter to Arkansas, the news behind the headlines, and conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Then in the afternoon, stay informed and fired up with Doc Washburn, breaking down the biggest stories of the day and what they mean for you. And all day long, hear from some of the biggest voices in talk radio. CNN's Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, and Larry, bringing you more news, opinion, insight, and the conversations shaping our community. From Little Rock to the natural state and beyond. This is 101.1, The Answer. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
Methodist Family Health has more than a century of providing the best possible care to those who may need our help. As we move forward through our second century, we are adding another nonprofit behavioral hospital for children and adolescents to our complete continuum of care. No matter the names of our programs, Methodist Children's Behavioral Hospital, Arkansas Cares, Methodist Counseling Clinics, we are all Methodist Family Health. Many names, one care.
Dave Elswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1, The Answer.
Okay, so Enrico just told me something. Breaking news. So play the the telegraph sound. Your organization is going to be moving their offices. Where are you guys going to?
Right. Yes, this is really, really exciting news. As the Jewish Federation of Arkansas is kind of starting its new chapter, right? Like going into its new chapter, new leadership, right? New board members, that we thought it was about time that we also have our own office space, our own voice, our own identity, right? And we will be moving in the coming weeks to the Union Station building in Arkansas.
Cool.
Yeah, right in front of the state capitol.
Isn't that where the Arkansas or Americans for Prosperity used to be?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they used to be down there. That's a
Used
great
to
building.
used to be a good. What was it? It wasn't called Clinton. Slick Willie's used to be there.
Yeah. Well,
Well-
that's really close to the Capitol. That's a great location.
Right. Well, the idea behind it was, speaking of, again, making a statement and sending the right message, right? Like, we wanted to show, because it's such a historic building, right? It's the historic Union Station building. We wanted to show that the Jewish people in Arkansas are part of its fabric, right? We have Jewish families here going all the way back to the mid 1800s.
Right.
And we're Americans. The Jewish people are here to be Americans and collaborate and work with everyone, and being right in front of the state capitol
And assimilate.
and assimilate and
Not assimilate.
exactly.
That's the problem I have
Um,
with some of these Muslims. They don't.
Well, we're very, very much Americans, right? I think that's what a lot of people forget. Yes, we're Jewish, and we're proud of our Judaism. I am very, very proud of my Judaism, and I have a very personal relationship with my Judaism, right? But we're also Americans, and we value our American values and freedoms. So the idea behind saying, "Hey, let's move somewhere that sends that message," right? Like, we're part of American society. We are here to help, support, and push forward the values and freedoms that we hold dearly, so that we cherish.
All right. Well, that's good news, and it's good news that you're going to be close to the Capitol, because when the General Assembly meets, you need to come over and meet as many different people as you can that are elected representatives here in Arkansas.
Right. I mean, I will say the state of Arkansas, our governor, right, Sarah Sanders, has been so supportive of the Jewish people and Israel. Of course, her father, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. They have shown the Jewish community in Arkansas and Israel so much love and support. And we appreciate that. We appreciate it greatly. And that is something that we want to continue to build and strengthen. So, like you said, being right in front of the Capitol, so close, being able to work side by side with our state legislature is something that we're going to put a lot of focus on.
Well, I get my fair share of criticism on the social media, as you can probably imagine. One of the things, though, that I'll tell you, I wear it like a badge. I used to have the Israeli flag here in the studio, but I don't have it here right now. It's at my house. The bottom line is, you want to talk about a Zionist? You're looking at one. All right. You're looking at one. I'm a big time supporter of Israel. I am. I think it's biblically mandated, and I support Israel.
Thank you, Dave.
And I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Don't get me wrong, but over the last 73 years I've been walking on terra firma, there hasn't been a lot of peace over in the Middle East. I'm hoping that what the president is doing right now will completely change the way the game is played in the Middle East.
Well, it's definitely forcing change.
Yeah,
we're seeing it.
Let's take a break. He'll be back next Thursday, Mr. McDreamy.
I will wear that title
gonna be back.
proudly. Thank you, Dave. Your friendship and support means the world to me and to us, and I want you to know that. And I'll continue to say it.
All right. Well, let's take a break, and we just got a call from Senator Bozeman's office. He's ready and waiting to talk to us after the news here on The Answer.
Wonderful.
Find us at 1011fmtheanswer.com. Download our app, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv. KDXE, Kamek Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. A policy change at the Olympics will exclude transgender women. The International Olympic Committee announced today that eligibility for any female category event is now limited to biological females. Correspondent Karen Chamis reports the U.S. and Iran have made no diplomatic headway as more missiles are fired.
As diplomacy aimed at ending the war between US, Israel and Iran seemed to be faltering, both sides have hardened their positions. Tehran has moved to formalize its control over the strategic Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the world oil is normally shipped. Meanwhile, Washington prepared for the arrival of combat forces that could be used on the ground in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Israel on Thursday carried out a wave of strikes targeting Iranian infrastructure, and Iran kept up its attacks on Persian Gulf neighbors, with Saudi Arabia intercepting multiple drones. I'm Karen Chamas.
Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt warns that President Trump is not backing down.
But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before. President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell.
Pressure is mounting on Congress to end the funding shutdown. It has resulted in travel disruptions, missed paychecks, even warnings of airport closures. But lawmakers have yet to resolve the underlying issue of reforming the Trump administration's immigration enforcement operations as demanded by Democrats. Oil is trading back above $100 a barrel today. In the early going on Wall Street, the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ are all lower. More at townhall.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
An appeals court has ruled that the U.S. can continue to detain immigrants without bond. The ruling handed a victory to the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration. It's the second appeals court to rule in favor of the administration on that issue. The EPA will allow gas stations to continue selling slightly cheaper E15 gas this summer. Bob Agnew reports.
The higher ethanol blend is normally limited to use in winter months, but the summer waiver for E15 has become commonplace in recent years, and both Republicans and Democrats have called for it to become year-round. Critics say it's a move that may be good for drivers and corn growers, but may likely contribute to air pollution. Bob Agnew reporting.
The California State Senate is expected to pass a bill to erase Cesar Chavez's name from a state holiday following sexual abuse allegations. Townhall.com. An appeals court has ruled that the U.S. can continue to detain immigrants without bond. The ruling handed a victory to the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration. Bob Agnew reports that the E15 gas, which is slightly cheaper, can continue to be sold again this summer.
The higher ethanol blend is normally limited to use in winter months, but the summer waiver for E15 has become commonplace in recent years, and both Republicans and Democrats have called for it to become year-round and permanent to help lower prices at the pump. Environmental critics say it's a move that may be good for drivers and corn growers, but may likely contribute to air pollution. Bob Agnew reporting.
Former Venezuelan President Maduro returns to a New York courtroom today as he seeks to have his drug.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this, Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
All right, final hour, the Dave Elswick Show for Friday. I can't believe I'm saying that. It has gone crazy fast today. And here we are now into the 10 o'clock hour. I've been waiting all week to be joined by the senator. He's on the line with us now, Senator John Bozeman. Hello, Senator. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I was busy chanting with the music.
You don't know how many people tell me that their kids think that this song really says Elswick in it. And that's so funny. That is very funny. But anyway,
it's good.
Senator, let's talk right off the bat. You are the head of one of the most powerful committees in the Senate, and that's the Ag Committee. What's going on? What's the big news going on with agriculture and you right now?
Well, as you know, Dave, agriculture is really having a generational loss of income. And this is something where right now, if you're growing something in the ground, you're losing money, lots of money. And so this is the third worst year when you put the 3 years together in loss of row crop income, really in ag history. So it's a very difficult situation. The problem is when we talk to our economists looking into the future, this next year doesn't promise to be any better. So we're blessed. We've got the cheapest, safest food supply of any place in the world. Food security is national security. And Marco Rubio, if he were on the show with us now, would be the first one to say that as a senator, head of the Intelligence Committee, and now as Secretary of State. So these are big things. So what we're trying to do is do a couple things. We passed about 85% of a massive farm bill that's going to help our farmers. They'll get those payments. These are insurance payments for a bad crop. They'll get those sometime in October. So what we're trying to do is keep them in business until then. And so we've been able to come up with some bridge payments that have been widely supported because, again, most members of Congress realize how important agriculture is. It's about 25% of the income GDP in Arkansas. It's usually 1 or 2 in most of our states. But if you get outside of any town of any size, it's probably 85 or 90% of the economy. So it really is huge. It's about farmers. It's about food. Keeping it cheap. And also it's about rural America. We've lost our manufacturing in rural America. Agriculture is all that's left. And so for all kinds of reasons, we're working hard to support our farmers. We've got this 15% of the farm bill that we've got to finish, and we're in the process of doing that. G.T. Thompson in the House did a great job over there. We're building on his work. And so hopefully we'll be able to do that in the next few weeks. So lots going on in the ag space. but it really is very, very important.
Yeah, how difficult it is it for you as you talk to your fellow senators in trying to explain, if you address this one spot, it's also going to have a different effect in another spot. I mean, you got to kind of put this in retrospect for everybody to understand what's going on.
Yeah, traditionally, Dave, farm bills, farm policy, it's about regions of the country. Southern agriculture, because they've got a lot of water and irrigate, is different than the Great Plains. The Great Plains are different than California. Our Midwestern farmers have such fertile ground. They have different needs. So you do all that, and then you come back and you've got to do the individual crops and make sure everybody's taken care of. So our specialty crops, tomatoes and strawberries, and all of those kind of things. And then you've got forestry. You've also got rice and corn and cotton and soybeans. The list goes on and on. They all have different needs. And so it's a matter of kind of putting all that together. So it's difficult. It's something, though, that's very, very important. But besides that, normally we have one crop that's up, another one's down, and there's a mix. Right now, the thing that's different is because of our loss of markets, because of primarily the Chinese market, and the fact that China has been very, very active in Brazil for the last several years. This isn't something that started this year. This is something that's been going on for many years. As I said, this is the third worst year. And so because of that, Chinese have to import 60% of their food. They have partnered with places like Brazil that's used to, so they've always had fertile ground, but they haven't had the infrastructure. They couldn't get it from the field to a road to a port. Chinese have gone in and built all those things, and they've become very, very competitive, along with India and so many other countries. So we used to be the big dog, kind of we are still the major player, but we got all kinds of competition now, and because of that, it's really knocked down the price. The other thing, Dave, is that inflation, and it started under the Biden administration, raged. It's leveled off now, but prices aren't going to go down. They're just leveled off, but their input costs are through the roof. And so that is a huge problem. And again, something else that we're trying to deal with. So lots going on.
So I guess the question I'd have right now is that I have heard that, farming used to be a great business to get into, and there are a lot of family farmers, but that's getting smaller and smaller every year. How do you help the small farmer stay in business against the conglomerates?
Well, when I was growing up, Dave, these small towns that are struggling now and really struggling throughout Arkansas, throughout rural America, they were the places you wanted to be from. Agriculture was king, and that's where all the money was. Now, we're in a situation where that's not the case. And so, like everything else, things have gotten bigger. Used to, when you and I were a kid also, there was a grocery store on every corner, a little tiny grocery store.
Yep.
You don't see that anymore. You have to have some scale. Even in the business you're in with radio stations, you see more and more scale there. So we're running into the same problem with agriculture, but it's so important to protect the family farm. So we're trying through the Farm Bill to give incentives for young farmers, people that want to get into the business, to be able to do that. And then also, very importantly, protect the people that are in. But we've got to do a couple things. We've got to increase our markets overseas, which is critical. And then also, we've got to value add the products that we're producing and sell more domestically. And we can do that. There's no reason that with mechanization stuff that we can't go back to producing some linens and things out of the cotton that we have, and just all kinds of examples like that where we can do a better job of actually using the products that we produce domestically. You're in the, if your input costs, the cost of business goes up, you raise your advertising rates a little bit, this and that. Every business is that way, except for farming. They're dependent on an international price.
Right.
And so, they have no ability to do that. So if their input costs go up and there's record production overseas and they're not able to sell their product because we've lost market, then they're up a creek. And the harder they work, the more they plant, the more money they lose. So it's a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah, and people need to understand that this is a security issue as well. I mean, we don't want the Chinese to be, able to control all of certain products. We don't want Russia to be able to take over Ukraine and then have all the wheat that they grow in the Ukraine. I mean, this is a tough time right now.
It's a big deal, Dave. And you say it can't happen. Well, we've let it happen with so many other things. There was a time when we were dependent on foreign countries for our oil, for our energy. Thanks to people like President Trump, getting in and using the resources that we've been blessed with, all of the resources, whatever they are, we were able to turn that around. But the last thing we need to do is be dependent on foreign countries for our food supply. During the pandemic, we learned how dependent we are on China and others. Yeah, sure. Lots of people don't like us very much. Yeah, for everything, Dave. Our medicines, or the precursor to our medicines, even if they're made here, the list just goes on and on. So we've got to turn that around. I know that the president is committed to trying bringing back some of that manufacturing. And we need to do the same thing in agriculture.
How has the president been in talking with you about agriculture? Is he working hard for you guys?
He really is. He understands how important agriculture is, and rural America's been really good to him and supported him. But apart from that, he understands how important this is to our country, and agriculture is just a basic building block that is so important for so many reasons. So he's been excellent. Brooke Rollins, the secretary in charge of agriculture, also has been more than helpful. She's done a tremendous job, and so it's everybody working together. And it's just very difficult for the farm community, and it's kind of a perfect storm for them right now with these high input costs and low prices.
All right, it's 10:17. Senator, I need to take a break. Let me do that. Then we'll come back and finish up our conversation. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Iran, especially Strait of Hormuz. People know that, hey, that's affecting oil. Let me tell you what, that's affecting fertilizer costs. And we're going to talk about that when we come back here on the Dave Elswick Show. Stay tuned. More coming your way.
The news never stops, and neither does your schedule. That's why we're here, keeping you up to date with all the biggest stories of the day. We're 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Alex Marlow sees good things happening with Cuba.
Cuba is showing huge signs of weakness. The fact that they've already sat down at the table with Trump's people. And so they'll probably have to soften wildly, or else you could see a regime change there. This has been a big thing, and it feels like we've got some real potential to do a lot of good without perhaps firing a single shot.
The Alex Marlow Show. Weekday mornings at 11 on 101.1. The Answer. Don't miss out on the latest news. Operation Epic Fury is here, and we're giving you the inside information. Make sure you're listening for all the details on Operation Epic Fury, right here on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Now, back to the Dave Elswick Show, 101.1 The Answer.
If you just joined us, Senator John Boozman has joined us for this half hour, and the senator just got done talking about the state of the American farm pretty coherently, I think, and it should let you know they're facing some big difficulties on the small family farm right now. I want to turn to my attention to Iran, because when we think about Iran, everybody thinks about gas prices, because gas prices are up now. Barrel of oil is over $100, and that doesn't bode well for gas prices. But Senator, get fertilizer, you got to have oil. You got to be able to do that. And I understand that there's been problems getting the fertilizer through the Gulf of Hormuz. How bad is it out there for the farmer as far as fertilizer is concerned?
Yeah, it's really difficult, Dave, for the farmer. It's another input cost that's gone through the roof. It was high anyway, and now it's much, much higher. The reason being that a lot of the fertilizer plants that actually, put the chemicals together to make it are located in the Middle East, and so they depend on getting through the strait. I think this is an opportunity, though. We have almost no competition in the fertilizer business. We need to increase competition. It was high to begin with, and we need to adjust the tariffs, adjust the duties coming into this country so we can lessen the price. So it's an opportunity to say, hey, we got to do something about this, and maybe this is bringing it to a head. Iran, I'm on the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee that funds the Defense Department, and so we got a really good briefing, kind of behind the closed doors briefing yesterday. I can't talk about most of it, but I can tell you this: if Iran were to go nuclear, Saudi Arabia would go nuclear, Turkey would go nuclear, Egypt would go nuclear. All of these countries that we've seen that Iran has launched missiles against in the Middle East, all of those people would feel like they needed to defend themselves. And so you'd have massive nuclear proliferation in the Middle East, which would not make any of us any safer. The other problem is that with their ability to create the missiles, short range, and as we were seeing these longer range missiles that they demonstrated, that truly is a threat, and they're able just to pump them out. So we've got great systems to intercept them. On the other hand, if you shoot so many at a given time, it overwhelms your interceptors. Mm-hmm. And so because of that was a real threat. So the two things that they were trying to do, again, was prevent them from becoming nuclear. They've got some, we did a good job of setting them back dramatically earlier, but they had some core nuclear material that doesn't take much to convert into a bomb that they'd already procured. So I think we were right in doing it. It's difficult with the Strait. We've essentially dismantled their military. We've dismantled their Air Force and their Navy. We've gotten after not their regular army. They have a regular army force, and they have the guards, and we've gotten after them. But the Strait is difficult because it doesn't take much. You can take a speedboat out on it, and with very little chance of getting caught, or multiple speedboats dropping mines and things like that, launching short-range missiles from the shore. So it doesn't take much to create havoc because it's such a small area.
Well, what's your take? What's your feeling and thoughts about Iran? I mean, tomorrow is the end of the 5-day waiting period that the president told Iran that they had to negotiate. If we go in and destroy the infrastructure in Iran, the people are going to suffer as well. I mean, this is kind of a touchy kind of time, is it not?
It is, and that's the balance. We really don't want to make it so difficult on the average Iranian, because it's almost unimaginable. But most of those people, many of them, are actually very happy about what we're doing. So, on the other hand, they have a governance that could care less about them. They're religious fanatics. They actually believe in Armageddon, but it's their duty to bring it on.
Yeah.
So it's just a difficult. It's hard for us, Dave, to think using our mindset, and our values. It's almost impossible to think the way they think. These are people that during the Iraq War used their children as mine detectors. So it's a bad situation. But I wouldn't be surprised if the president didn't up the ante a little bit and start getting after some of the infrastructure that is needed to kind of keep things together. Not necessarily destroy it all, which we could, just in a moment, but to make it such that it makes things a little bit more difficult, demonstrating that we have the ability to do that. And if we continue to see things going on in the Strait like we're seeing, that probably that will be upped.
Well, Senator, you and I are about the same age, and we've seen, the Middle East be the quagmire that it's been for years and decades. Now we stand on the precipice of maybe changing the whole Middle East. It kind of excites me. What about you?
No, I think so, and I agree with you. This, the sad thing is this should have been done 20 years ago.
Yep.
Iran, we can't forget that Iran, for the last several decades, has killed many service men and women, and have wreaked havoc. They've put out, contracts to kill Americans. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so, and they would have done more if we would have allowed them to get beyond what they have done. So it's time. I think the president was wise in doing it. It was a very difficult decision, and for a while we're going to have to pay a little bit for that. On the other hand, I think long term, for our children, our grandchildren, and for ourselves, going into the next few decades, that it was important, and as you say, I think has the opportunity to really change the Middle East and calm things down.
I sure hope so. Senator, we're out of time. Thanks for making yourself available to us today. and keep up the good work in D.C.
Appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you in person. You take care.
All right. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Of course,
Bye-bye.
Senator John Bozeman, one of our state senators. He's a national senator along with Tom Cotton. All right, time for the news. Let's get to that. Then when we come back, I'm going to give you some really terrible numbers about rape in the UK.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. A big change coming to the Olympics. Transgender women athletes are banned. The International Olympic Committee announced today that eligibility for any female category event is now limited to biological females. Israel says it killed the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's Navy chief in an overnight military strike. And Pakistan's top diplomat says U.S.-Iran indirect talks are taking place as the two countries offer their opposing proposals for a ceasefire. An appeals court has ruled that the U.S. can continue to detain immigrants without bond. The ruling handed a victory to the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration. AAA says today's national average for gasoline just under $4 at $3.98 a gallon. Wall Street down arrows across the board. This is SRN News.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
In his new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza brings the new Middle East into focus with a message of perseverance, faith, and a shared global destiny.
Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be somehow tied to this place?
At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
Israel and Christians are coming together in a way they have never been before since the book of Acts.
But is this the end of Hamas and radical Islam? What does the Bible say?
We have to become fighters in the spirit for God. We don't accept what the enemy wants to do with our culture. We don't accept what he wants to do with the nation. If we keep fighting, we win.
Powerful, prophetic, a must-see movie based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller, The Dragon's Prophecy, combines history and scripture with faith, justice, and renewal. The Dragon's Prophecy, a new film by Dinesh D'Souza, now available on Amazon, YouTube, and iTunes.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
you are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
The Dave Elswick Show is back. 101.1. The Answer.
All right, back with you. We're into the last couple of segments of the show for this week. It's been a great week. We have shows tomorrow, of course. It's Friday. And we got some good guests coming up tomorrow here on the Dave Elswick Show. Next Friday, a week from Friday, we won't be on the air live. We'll be just doing the show, a best of show, because that's Good Friday, and that's the day that's taken off by Salem Media. Total number of victims of UK gang rape gangs is exceeding 100,000. Let me repeat that to you. The total number of victims of UK rape gangs exceeds 100,000. That's just a conservative estimate. The figure coming from Julie Bendel, founder of the group Justice for Women. She was interviewed by Brendan O'Neill of Spike, and here's what was said. Quote, "We all know, or those that are being honest about it do, that this particular group of men, whether they're Iraqi Muslim or Pakistani Muslim or anything else, are embedded within a very traditional misogynistic culture. They are clannish with their extended families. This enables them to run big drug cartels, as well as cartels of prostituted and sexually abused girls for their own pleasure. The last thing that we want to do is for people to stop listening to this because of hyperbole and exaggeration. But if you were to take a very conservative estimate, you're looking at several towns and cities where girls are being abused and targeted by a very similar type of perpetrator. The real number will be well over 100,000, and that's a conservative estimate. That is a terrifying number of victims, the vast majority of whom will never see justice. Almost none of them will have counseling or any kind of psychological support. We're talking about thousands of ruined lives. It's an extraordinary strain on the UK and on our nation, in fact, as well, and on the well-being of working class communities. It ought to be an object lesson for all Western democracies. Unchecked immigration and a political class on the left unwilling to do anything about it. This is real deal. This is going on big time in the UK. It's a big deal in France right now, and it's terrible about what's happening to women in Spain. This has been brought on by the immigration that has happened, that has come from the Middle East with the Muslims. And the Muslim men see women as second-class citizens, I guess, is a way of putting it, but I don't think that tells you how horrid it really is. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Now, I want to tie this next story to the story I just gave you, and that is Annabelle Denham in the Telegraph newspaper in Britain. As Britain frets about its cratering fertility rate, something else is going on. Abortion in Britain is no longer a marginal issue. It has become a mass phenomenon. In 2023, that's the most recent year for which they have data, there were close to 300,000 terminations across the UK, the highest figure on record by some distance against over 630,000 live births. Let me tell that to you again. 630,000 live births and 300,000 abortions. The upcoming decriminalization of abortion is likely to increase the number of terminations further at precisely the moment when we are being worried about the economic and societal implication of too few births. We are also presiding over historically high rates of abortion. Had numbers in 2023 been in line with 2015, there could have been roughly 15% more births. That's not a rounding error. It's a demographic fact with long-term impact. And that is from a story in the Telegraph in the UK. This, as the UK moves ahead with a macabre piece of legislation that will allow abortion up to birth. The former health minister, Maria Caulfield, said that passing the amendment would mean infanticide would become possible with no legal consequences. Catherine Robinson, spokeswoman for pro-life group Right to Life, said the abortion up to death clause is one of the most extreme pieces of legislation ever to pass the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Quoted as a travesty that such enormous and terrible legislative change, which will directly endanger the lives of unborn babies, well beyond the point at which they would be able to survive outside the womb, as well as the lives of their mothers, has been allowed to happen. Incredible. Just absolutely incredible.
In searching for the gang rape article,
Yes.
you're not going to believe this one I came across, Dave.
What's that?
Wow, I'm blown away. Let me put it up here. It's just the word itself that they're using. Read this article. Gang rape victim to be euthanized.
After father's legal challenge fails. So
she was raped by her boyfriend. And then again later on, different time by two other men. She jumped out of a window, became paraplegic because of her, PTSD or whatever to this. And she's now going to be euthanized. Euthanized. That's what we do to animals here.
Yeah, she's asking to be killed.
Yes.
See,
that's the result of it.
This is what scares me about, quote, mercy killing, because that's the other term that they call it. And a person should be able to do what they want with their body. That does not mean that society or your government has to go along with it. That's BS.
It left her paraplegic and she's suffering chronic and incapacitated pain with no possibility of improvement. But that's the result of the rapes.
Yeah.
If they would just get a grip on teaching men not to rape women, she would be fine.
Well, the way you get a grip on that is that you make that a capital crime and one that you can bring the death penalty to. Of course, they don't have the death penalty in the UK any longer. Maybe they should go back to it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Castration. That's what I think.
It's the worst thing I think that can happen to a woman. I've got two daughters and two sons that were all attacked. My daughters from my wife's previous marriage. Look, I sat through the therapy sessions so that I would know how to deal with the things that a woman carries with her after a sexual attack. And they just hear me clearly. They never, ever get over it. they can smell a certain smell, hear a certain song, and it triggers all of the stuff all over again. It's terrible. I remember when Kim called me one night, and she wanted to talk to Dad, and I got on the line with her, and she says, "Dad, I don't know what to do." And I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "When I have sex with my husband, I see the perpetrator's face on him." Now, what am I supposed to say? I mean, seriously, I listened to her, and I talked to her about getting further therapy, and it helped. But she's going to live with that for the rest of her life. And
There's nothing you can say.
nobody else understands. I don't think people don't understand that this whole thing of rape and pedophilia and things that are going on. I think the best thing that could happen is that we have a noose out in the back right behind the court, and if the person is found guilty of sexually abusing somebody, raping someone, you take them right on. You give them their one appeal, and if the rest of the trial was clean, then you take them up and put the noose around their neck and be done with them.
Because you know what? They really don't even feel like they've done anything wrong.
Well, the bottom line is that everybody says, "Well, we try to make them productive members of society again." They will tell you. The doctors will tell you that they never get over that. They always want to do that. They're hot wired to do it. If that's the case, then we have to, understand best that we get them out of the pool.
Yeah, sometimes it's because it's been done to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just there's some mental defect they have. Sometimes it's just the taboo of the situation.
I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face, and I've told you about my own children and what they've gone through because of pedophilia and things of that nature. I have no sympathy, empathy, anything for a pedophile.
I don't either. Actually, later in life, I was molested when I was 5. And I remember the detail. I was just talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I remember. I'm not going to let it make me a victim. Though.
Yeah.
Never.
But still.
But I turned around when I was 30 because I never said anything to anybody. And I found out he had been molesting his granddaughters.
Oh, my God.
And I called up the detective who was investigating it. And I said, it happened to me. And then turns out an old neighbor of his also called after she was also in her 30s. And I knew her actually. But we did that. And then he lost his leg, part of his leg in prison, got gangrene because diabetic. And he's out now. But, I feel vindicated. I feel bad that I didn't say something sooner.
He should never have gotten out.
I agree.
To walk amongst us again. I will not apologize.
But his dad was also like that. He was not my mom's dad. He was her stepdad. But he would be the kind that he'd be like, "Oh, come sit on my lap," and then fondle you.
Yeah.
But I was a kid. What do you do with that? You don't want to cause trouble. You don't want to. You don't. But it's much different than rape as well.
Yeah.
Because rape is a violent crime. Like that's.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you, and because a next door neighbor violated my 2 boys, and I found out about it, and I left my house, went next door to my next door neighbor where this kid lived, and I knocked on the door, and the man who owned the home came to me, and I told him what my sons had told me. And he says, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "As soon as I go back to my house, I'm going to call Barry Maka, who was the prosecuting attorney at the time, and turn your son in." He says, isn't there a better way that we can deal with this? I mean, he was defending him basically, and I just went nuts. I said, let me just be as honest as I can. You might as well keep him in the house, because if I see him outside, I'm liable to come over and put a bullet into his skull.
Your son needs help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and that you're not helping them.
He ended up not going to prison over this. And the judge, Judge Brotherton, I still remember the judge's name, told him that if he ever showed up in front of him again, the judge, in the court of law about sexual crime against underage kids, that he'd put him away for a long time. 8 years later, this same kid, same guy, was molesting a 13-year-old girl.
Mm-mm-mm.
And my mother-in-law said she had read about it in the newspaper. And I said, did Barry Maka call you and talk to you? She said, no, he's not the prosecuting attorney anymore. And I said, okay, fine. So I called the prosecuting attorney, and I told them what Brotherton had said. They showed up within 30 minutes and arrested him at his home. And then he went in front of Brotherton, and Brotherton put him down in Huntsville. And he just got out like 2 years ago. I don't think he shouldn't have ever got out. All right. He should have been there.
Because now he's going to do it again. I don't care if you put him on a registry.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They're going to do it again.
They will try. I have no doubt about it. They'll try. So yeah, I have no sympathy, empathy. And
if they had willpower, Dave, then they wouldn't be rapists to begin with.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. That I want to mention to everybody. I had pushed about 8 years ago, that paternity had to be established on any live birth here in the state of Arkansas. And I was told it would never pass. Do you want to know why it wouldn't pass, Val?
Inbreeding.
I'm going to be on. Yep.
I understand.
I'm going to be really honest with you.
I understand that.
They told me, well, we'd have to deal with fathers that are diddling their daughters. Let me tell you what. I said, you should put those bastards behind bars as quickly as you can.
Let me tell you, that same man that did that to me married a woman who, I didn't know this till much later, married a woman who had a child, right? Then her dad came to live with them. That kid was her dad's, and he knew it. And he let him live there because he was the same kind of freak. Like he is like my mom's half brother. So and that's the worst of my family.
I'm going to get
disgusting.
With a senator or with a state rep and see if somebody has the balls to run that piece of legislation again.
That could keep people from. But then there might be more murders as well because these poor little girls.
All right. That's all I got right now. We got to get a break in. We'll come back and finish up the Dave Elswick Show when we return here on 101.1 The Answer.
RedState.com captures the pulse of conservatism. Red State staff of contributors are on top of breaking news with stories and analysis that challenge the established agenda. RedState.com educates, motivates, and activates passionate conservatives across America, arming them with the facts that put them ahead of the political curve. No wonder RedState.com is a must-read for elected officials and for citizens who want to make their vote count. RedState.com is the place where influence meets action. Log on to RedState.com today.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
Did you hear Congressman French Hill on the Dave Elswick Show?
Needs to make sure that Iran does not have an active ballistic missile threat to the region, and they end their nuclear program and they stop funding terror proxies. And this is from one of their across the Persian Gulf neighbors, the UAE, and that's exactly the kind of response we need. And I think Trump right to be irritated with NATO. I mean, America.
I agree.
Immediately, we came immediately to the defense of Ukraine, which there's no question about it. And you and I are in full agreement on that Russia should not take Ukraine.
No.
And I agree with. However, we replumbed the entire oil and gas industry to benefit Europe because of Russia's illegal, murderous invasion of Ukraine. And here, Europe and all around the world is dependent on the Straits of Hormuz and Persian Gulf oil production. Therefore, it's logical then that NATO and other American allies would, be supportive.
Don't miss Congressman Hill, Wednesday mornings at 7 on the Dave Elswick Show, 101.1. The Answer. The Secular crew sees a big push.
So what we're seeing is a move by those that are supportive of the SAVE Act, that want it passed. They are going to have extended debate on this. They're going to take over the Senate floor, and this could go as long as 2 weeks that they're expecting this. It's going to look almost like they are filibustering how much floor time they're going to be giving this.
Secular, afternoons at 3 on 101.1. The Answer. 101.1 The Answer. Weather.
Another nice day in store for us today. Lots of sunshine and a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. High of 86, down to 64 tonight. A slight chance of rain tomorrow and otherwise cloudy. High of 77.
America is at a tipping point. To ensure we stay the land of the free and home of the brave, you need to be informed and engaged. That's why we're here. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The conservative voice of Arkansas. The Dave Elswick Show on 101.1 The Answer.
All right, final segment of the Dave Elswick Show for today. We'll reconvene at 7 a.m. Here on 101.1. Abortion doctor Kermit Gosnell passed away in a hospital, in prison. He was 85 years old. That name, if you've been listening to my show for any length of time, will ring a very big bell to you, because we talked about Kermit Gosnell on my show for months. This is a guy who committed atrocities and killed thousands of unborn babies. He was sentenced back in 2013, convicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder, killing infants outside of the womb by, quote, snipping their spinal cords. In fact, he was guilty of at least 100 such murders and arguably thousands. Ann McAnally, you may remember her. I brought her here to Little Rock. We showed her movie about this guy. And over at Matt's place,
Riverdale.
Gosnell is gone, she said, but we should take time to think of the thousands of innocent babies who were his victims. They lived for a very short period of time, but must not be forgotten. They achieved some measure of justice with Gosnell's prosecution and incarceration. I think in particular of baby boy A, who was so big that even Gosnell's workers were shocked by the barbarity of his killing and took a photo of him after he was murdered. He shook their hardened hearts. The Western Journal reported on it and said Maria V. Gallagher, spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Pro-Life Federation of National Right to Life, said the horrors that Gosnell inflicted should not be forgotten. Quote, we continue to grieve the loss of the babies and women who fell victim to Gosnell's violent crime spree, and we hold out hope that the lessons learned from Gosnell's reign of terror will not be forgotten. I think we'll try to get Ann on tomorrow and talk to her. I got her number still on my phone. And we'll see if she can talk about Kermit Gosnell. here on the Dave Elswick Show, that if there's levels of hell, he is in the hottest corner that is down there. Just telling you. This was an evil, evil, evil man. All right, let's take a break. I will see you back on the radio at 7 a.m. tomorrow on the Dave Elswick Show.
News breaks fast. We break it down faster. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. KDXE, Kamak Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. House Speaker Mike Johnson sounding an optimistic tone about the end of the